3, 2, 1, click. This is Date With Us, a dating sim podcast where two lover girls, me, Kanisha,
and me, Claire,
date, mate, and rate cyber sweeties because every gamer needs a little love in their saves.
We're inviting you to join us for our digital debriefs about our pixelized paramours. Whether they're in visual novels, roguelites, or funky indie darlings, we'll dish on who we're romancing and if our choices really mattered.
It doesn't matter if you're here to get love, lust, or just the bus.
You'll get to know at least one worthwhile person. Yourself.
So, light some candles,
partake in a vice of your choosing,
and we'll give you the lowdown on the games to download.
Thank you. Okay. Why did I think Kanisha was going to start the episode? I don't know if Kanisha has ever started an episode of Date With Us, but today was going to be the day.
Next time. I don't know what you say. I heard the gap and I was like, and this is Date With Us. So, next time.
Oh my God. Incredible. Well, this is Date With Us. We're here. It's episode 2 of season 3, our spring season. Also our first 3-game episode. A couple of housekeeping and announcements. If you hear a laugh in the background, we do have a guest with us today. So Monday nights in April, which you may have missed one by the time this comes out, but we're still going. We're streaming Doki Doki Literature Club to scare the living daylights out of ourselves. And then in May, we will be playing a tabletop role-playing game called Brindlewood Bay in Brindlewood May with my mother, Mom After All. So if you want to catch us, date with us live, you can date with us live on Mondays in April and May on the Claire After All Twitch channel. And then additionally, as we've learned from many of our illustrious peers in the podcasting space, it's important to mention on your show that rating and reviewing the show helps the show. So if you're listening, please take a moment and rate and review our little show that we're doing here today. But now, without further ado, coming today with that PAX afterglow, he's here for our first ever Trilogy show. Chasing Emily Unafraid, he's the host of Underplayed. Help us say hello to the wonderful Beau.
What a lovely intro. Thank you so much, Claire and Kanisha. How are you both doing today?
Oh, I'm good now. I got to write a rhyme this morning, so I'm doing great.
I love it. I love doing the rhymes for guests. It's one of my favorite things to do on Underplayed. So to receive it just means the world. So thank you so much for that. It was very lovingly written.
Yeah, you know what they say, you reap what you sow, and you've sown a lot of rhymes.
And you just reminded me I need to write some rhymes for some upcoming guests, which I always love doing. I love being in the shower and just thinking of rhymes. And sometimes they come to me, sometimes it takes a while. I know what it can take sometimes. So I see you and the effort you put in. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. I did have to look up limerick structures to remind myself of what it was like.
Limericks are fun. Limericks are super fun. I listened to a podcast once. It was a movie podcast where one of the co-hosts always did a mini review of the movie they were covering via a limerick.
Wow.
And they did the podcast weekly, and I just don't know how that's possible.
Well, Beau, obviously I just mentioned that you host Underplayed, but if you would like to tell us a little bit about that and then guide us into your history with dating sims, dating sim experiences, or your first dating sim, depending on what calls to you.
Yeah. So thank you for the intro. I'm the co-host of Underplayed, which is an indie game review podcast. I do that with my best friend, DiscoCola. We record that podcast in person. We've been doing it for several years now. We're in our 9th season. We cover a variety of indie games. Usually we have a featured game every episode. We also cover a couple of secret games where I play a game on my own time. He plays a game on his own time. We don't tell each other what we're playing, and we reveal those games before we review the featured games. So every episode we're reviewing 3 games. And then we do a season finale episode at the end of every season too. It's really fun. We're always discovering new games. I'm always discovering new games through Disco because he finds some just out there weird games that I've never heard of. And I like to think I sometimes do that too. But
I love the finale episodes because they're like, I love to I love all the retrospective. I'm like such a show me how the sausage gets made person. So it's fun to hear everybody like looking back at what they've done and how they did it and if it worked and what didn't and all of it.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to reflect before we move on to the next season. That's mainly why we do it, is like we would feel remiss not looking back at the previous 10 episodes and being like, hey, we played 30 games. Let's give out awards, let's rank our favorites. Ultimately, it's kind of arbitrary that we rank stuff and give awards because there's not a consistent theme between all the games of a season, but it's an excuse to look back at everything and talk about games. So yeah, thank you for saying that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then for dating sims, I honestly have not played a ton. I have played a lot in the indie space. I've played, let's see, Speed Dating for Ghosts meant a lot to me. That was a really fun one. I don't know if you've played that one.
That game is so emo.
You just never know what kind of conversation you're going to have or like backstory you're going to uncover. And it's not always romantic. I think there's truly something for everyone in that one. I have played Doki Doki Literature Club. You mentioned that. I'm excited for you two to play that.
I'm scared.
You should be.
No.
That game can really devolve into just craziness and madness. But we featured that on Underplayed in season 2 or 3, I want to say. And I didn't stream it or anything. I just played it on my own time. But I think it's really special that you're going to be sharing that with your communities. I think they're going to get a lot out of it. And that game you kind of don't always know when it's going to end. There's a lot to it. So
when will it end?
I'm looking forward to that. Did you say you're just doing one stream of that, or is it a series of streams?
It's a series, so it'll be just like a couple hours at a time, however long it takes, because I know with streams it'll always take more time than you think it will. So we set up for all 4 episodes of April to be Doki Doki.
Okay, I think there's potential for your time to just get filled with Doki Doki. I could see you getting into it. So yeah, no matter what happens, I know you'll have a blast together. I'm looking forward to that.
Yay.
And then other dating sims, I think I sent you a list of ones I had played, Claire, and it wasn't many, right? But one that was on my list was the first Emily is Away.
Yes.
Which I played back in like 2015 when it first released. And I never followed up on Emily is Away 2 and Emily is Away Less Than 3. So this was a great excuse to dip into the series and just play them all.
Yes. Before we get into all the Emilys and all of her being away, I want to know one of the 36 questions to fall in love with anyone. I want your answers. This is a series where Claire and I, as we started this podcast, have been asking each other one question from these 36 to fall in love with each other. I'm already in love with Claire, though. It worked too well, but there's still more to go. There's always more to know.
I'm still waiting, but we'll see if it works.
Wow. Jeez Louise. Well, that's okay. My heart is always on my sleeve.
We're less than halfway there. One of us has to play it close to the chest to keep it interesting.
Of course it is. Friends to lovers, hashtag she fell first and she fell harder, hashtag black cat and golden retriever. Anyway.
Kanisha's writing the fanfic live.
I love it.
Is there something that you've dreamed of doing for a long time? Why haven't you done it?
Oh, that's a great question.
Questions start to get bigger now.
Yeah.
This can go in so many directions. For me, I would say video production for like personal projects. So I do video production for my job. I've done it for over a decade. I work on an internal marketing team, and that's really fun because every project's different, right? We interview a lot of people. We do remote video productions. Back in the day, like the few years after college, I would make video projects in my free time. But you know, you get to a certain point where you just want to leave work at work. And it is vastly different to do projects for yourself than what you do for work. But just like, I feel a lot of that area of my creativity being devoted to work. And I would love if I could find more to do personally. don't have the energy and I don't have the time. I would love to make it happen though. So I think that that's what comes to mind for me.
Isn't that always the way?
It feels like something you'd be good at.
It's fun because the sky's the limit with what you can do in video. And that's why I fell in love with it in college. I went to college thinking I would do audio production, and then I had to take video production classes. And I was like, wait, there's so much more here to learn and to be inspired by. So that's why I kind of switched tracks. And yeah, I would make juggling videos back in the day.
Oh my
I
gosh.
would love to do like video gaming content stuff with videos, like reels and stuff,
Yeah.
but it's just a lot of work.
Yeah.
The content machine doesn't stop, and I do it does feel like sometimes being able to have a thing that is different than the thing you are being paid to make as your like creative, it feels important. But
Yeah.
but I like making stuff.
Yeah. So maybe someday for me. But yeah, I'm curious about your answers.
Mm.
I feel I'm upset with the amount of things that the why haven't you answer is like, I have anxiety. And it's like, well, okay, we're facing that. We're dealing with it. Like literally today, insider look, dear listener, today we adjusted the time of our podcast a little bit. And I was like, how am I going to productively use this time so that I don't feel like I wasted my Sunday, sort of a thing. So I confronted something that I've dreamed of doing and have been putting off, which is emergency plan preparedness, like household emergency planning. And so I finally cracked into my like, I got myself one of those, here comes the apocalypse, here's your little guide. Like, it's like cute with cartoons and stuff rather than like intense militarized thing. But I like started going through the book and I actually read a chapter and like started doing things. And so I'm flipping the question a little bit to be like, this is me confronting something I have wanted to do for a while and have not, because there have been a variety of things in life that have made me realize that I should probably get my shit together. But we're doing it.
I'm so
That's
proud
great.
of you. And
That's
I think-
admirable. Yeah.
And if you haven't started, this is me getting my little soapbox to be like, make a little plan,
yeah.
do a little, you know.
It's important. But it's
Yeah.
also so clear of you to be like, the thing that I really wanted to do and that I immediately gravitated toward with this free time on my free Sunday was to plan more.
Well, it was to plan something I've been putting off because I don't like to think about the scary
But
plans.
a different kind of plan.
Which, speaking of other planning, putting a pin for eventually pitching you my new 30-second birthday party ideas. So that's...
Whoa.
Whoa.
Look, when you
I
start
wanna hear
planning, you
about
just start
that.
planning in all the directions. But what are
Oh
you
my
dreaming
gosh.
of, Kanisha?
This is an asshole thing to say, but it's one of the few things I'm an asshole about, which is that I usually achieve my dreams. So,
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
yeah, like I don't know. I have done most of the things that I've dreamed for a long time. I have done them. Or like it's gone to the point, like usually there's a point of no return. I'm not going to dance for the American Ballet now. But that was like a baby me dream. But the other baby me dreams that like I have largely done them. So
Yeah,
It's
you've done
pretty
a
cool.
lot of cool stuff.
I've done too much.
You've like worked on a TV show, you've worked on movies, you've worked on live events with celebrities. You've really, you're just
I did the
woman about
gamut.
town.
I went to computer science school, which was the other thing. I was like, I left this one hanging, and now I came back for it. You know what? I want to make a game. Like, I want to actually like fully start to finish make the game.
It's gonna be good.
It is going to be good. I know it's going to be good because we will have worked on it. And
A-
Inside scoop.
A visual
scoop.
novel or a dating sim?
okay, so
maybe?
we're thinking right now we're in the pitching stage right now. Yes.
Yeah, that's where you got to start.
Yeah, those are kind of some of my other dreams. I guess the one that feels the most distant is like writing a novel, because like that's just a lot of words in one thing. I like this question. I do have a lot of anxiety. I have had to face like I've written before, specifically about like just like how often passivity or like inaction is an answer, and I don't like telling myself no. I don't like telling other people no, but the one person I really don't want to tell no by neglect is myself. So, yeah, that's my answer to that.
Yay.
Yeah.
Now that we've revealed what our dreams are, let's get into Emily's dreams. Jiminy. All right. We're talking about 3 games today, folks. We're here to talk about 3 games. The Emily is Away trilogy. We're going to talk about all of these games sort of as a unit, as like a storytelling themes and motifs that exist in all of these games. And then we're going to go game by game we'll give you a little bit about each game. Then we'll talk a little bit about the characters in each game and how the games work. And then eventually we will get to spoiler central, where we're going to go through all the ending, not all the endings of all the games, but like the endings that we got and what we thought about that and what is possible and what isn't possible at certain points in the game. So I want to prep everyone that we are going to go to Spoiler Town, but we're going to try to start lightly in each of these.
Yeah, 3 of us, 3 games.
Whoa.
From Steam?
Yes. And they're all in the outline too, if that is helpful.
Oh, I see it now. Sorry, I didn't scroll down far enough. There we go.
Oh my gosh, wait. We haven't razzed Beau yet for being a man. Leave it to a man to show up to the show and not read the outline. Okay, sorry.
Well, actually, I'm illiterate is why I didn't read. So
an honest man.
Right. So first time for everything. Let's see. May I
I think you should now to prove that you can.
Okay, do my best. I'll start with Emily is Away. Emily is Away is an interactive story. Create a screen name and choose your path through the branching narrative.
It was released on November 20th, 2015 and is free.
Wow, that's a steal.
That is a steal. Next, Emily is Away 2. Emily is Away 2 is a brand new story featuring new characters and multiple different endings. Message your friends, surf the web, choose your path through this branching narrative. Released May 26, 2017, and it is $4.99.
And last but not least, Emily is Away Less Than 3, aka Emily is Away Heart. Emily is a brand new story set on old new social media. Customize your FaceNook profile, send some friend requests, and determine the outcome of your senior year. It's 2008, and AIM is dead. Released April 16th, 2021. The price is $9.99. And all of these games were developed and published by Kyle Seeley.
For the content warnings of all 3, drinking, mentions of sex and intimacy, heartbreak, and nostalgia are involved.
And those are just content warnings that I came up with because I did a quick search engine, what are the content warnings for this, and didn't find anything that like jumped out immediately. So if something else pops to your minds that I've forgotten, feel free to add.
I think the only thing I'd add is in Emily Away 2. No spoilies, but there's a bit of like emotional abuse.
Oh yeah, good call.
To flag. So just keep that in mind as you're playing if you're sensitive to those themes.
Cool. Now, mechanics, which I think is the biggest draw of these games, is just that you're logging in and you're freaking on AOL Instant Messenger, baby.
Yeah, immediately nostalgic.
Yes.
Immediately reminiscent of what it was like for me to be in middle school and use AIM every night. Like I was one of those kids who was hopping on the computer every night and going into chat rooms, chatting with people one-on-one.
Yeah.
And I think it really captures that feeling.
Something I love too is that all 3 games, like, they boot up as an application and then you get links that folks will send you. So it really does, like, it really forces you to interact with your device as if like, yes, I am on AIM, and then this is opening in my browser, and this is like popping up and downloading straight onto my desktop and things like that. Even like it's an interesting approach to background music because it's like, and here's my YouTube playlist that's going while I'm like clicking through all these apps. Like, you know, it feels obvious to say, but I'm like, oh yeah, that is soundtracking, and also a cheeky way to get around licensing because you're just using like the YouTube videos are already out. So there's that. For accessibility, it's a bit limited, but basically, dear listener, as you can infer,
Kanisha forgot the listeners.
I was like, who are you? How are you
what do
doing
we
this?
call them? Who are these people?
My audience?
Yeah, I mean, that's valid, I think.
So basically you're clicking, yes, lots of clicking, but there's also typing. I just keyboard smash. But you can.
I have a mechanical complaint about the keyboard smash. There is one moment in one of these games where it's like they train you to just keyboard smash and the little thing will type and it will send. You'll hit enter and it'll send. And then there's one moment where they offer you the ability to ask to give yourself a nickname. And my dumbass did not realize it. And I went enter.
And so your nickname was way longer than your full name.
It was like the message I get every time Kanisha sends me a distressed message, which is literally just a keyboard smash.
Does it make you hit enter to lock that in?
It does.
It
does.
But you were just on autopilot.
I was in the zone. I was
going.
Just zapping. I don't know. I think it was
so
it at
funny.
all. And I think maybe it was after the timed ones. So I was like afraid I was being timed still, maybe, or something. I don't know. I have no defense for myself. We all know I'm the one who's dying in the first round of every dating sim. Like I struggle.
And we love that about you.
Mechanics wise, I liked that was an option, and I did not like that I bungled it and it was not changeable.
Yeah. The only other time I think is when you choose your name at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
That's some open-endedness, but you're not yet into the groove of just mashing on the keyboard.
Yeah.
Or in my case, I played all these games on the Steam Deck while I was traveling, which was an interesting experience. So I was mashing the face buttons on my Steam Deck, and those things are clicky, right? So I was in Airbnbs and hotels like just mashing these buttons in the first two games. But when we talk about accessibility features, one thing I love about the third game is that it lets you auto type your selection. Like you make a selection and it will just type everything out and you just wait for it to type like
Well, that's what I was
the
going to
average
say.
speed. Yeah.
You can do that for all three games. Because I did it.
Okay.
Yeah, I did it for the first two.
Okay. I wish I knew that.
I gotta read. I gotta look in the settings.
Yeah, I was just like clicking stuff because I am lazy, and I famously hate playing games on my laptop. So I think like the first full game I did play on my Steam Deck. And I was like, well, I'm not doing that. So how do I make this faster? And so that's how I figured that out.
Good for you.
I really
for
said
looking.
I'm immersing myself in 2008. Let me load onto my MacBook and hope that it.
But there are like three settings. It's like you can turn the volume up or down. You can turn the background noise up or down because you do have like dial-up tones and things like that play while you're browsing, which I find very comforting.
It was so soothing.
Text assist, So those are your settings, and then you just gotta go. I will say my one complaint, this is my one complaint. We've named a few. Is that in each of these games, I noticed that the save breaks are so far between. So you kind of have to play like an entire, or at least a third of a chapter. And if you need to like step away or go do something, girl, you better just kind of grind through the conversation so that you can get to a point where it auto saves. And then the auto save is not in the first two games it's pretty obvious, but in the third game it's not as obvious to me. So that's just something to watch out for. When you go to log out, it tells you how far you are away from your last save, but I would just flag that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was always noticing when it said like saving your progress or progress saved in the first two games, it does pop up on screen. If you don't see that, you might not know when the last time it's saved. You might not be aware of like if you're safe to quit. So you just have to be very observant. And I was also in the third game going to the corner, doing the log out button just to see how many minutes it had been, because I had to hop off of an airplane and turn my Steam Deck off at one point. It's like, can I get away with that? And so there are occasional moments where you do have to check on that. It does kind of rip you out for a moment to do that.
Yeah, I feel like it definitely was designed with the intention of like locking in for each session in its entirety, like each evening in the game in its entirety, like as the time in the game is moving. You feel like I felt so tied to like I have to stay at my computer because I have to get the messages from these people. And then I was like, am I 13 again? Like the mechanics of this game, like crazy. Yeah.
It's like the immersion. Like it really does a lot to transport you back. This is where I have to admit, I think it's funny because when Beau said earlier that he was like, yes, I played the first Emily is Away in 2015, and I was like, oh, because I played Emily is Away Heart in 2021, and so I remember thinking like, oh, I didn't know there were like previous games, just as like, oh, this Facebook interface of the last game is like much more like, oh, I was actually doing this in middle school than like logging in. So
Kanisha's younger then. She's so young.
I feel
She's so
bad.
sprightly.
But it's like every time, and it's infinitesimal. I'm like a year. I'm 1 year younger than Claire. But yeah, it
But
was just
sometimes
another moment.
it shows, you know?
Yeah,
And this
the
is the
ocean.
AOL Instant Messenger is where it shows for sure. I was like, okay, what did everyone make their screen names?
Oh, back in the day, or
Or
like
I mean, or
in this.
whatever you're comfortable sharing.
So, oh, I wrote this down actually for the first game. I did the randomized names, right? And I was just hitting randomize. Third time I hit the randomize button in Emily is Away 1, it gave me Porksterbator. And I was like, I'm just going to roll with that.
Okay, I have a question. You don't have a friend on Steam named Porksterbator, do you?
No,
Okay.
I do not. I would know.
Because it also pulls from your Steam when you
Yeah.
randomize. It also pulls from your Steam
Yes.
friends. So that's why I was
I
like,
wasn't
wait.
getting a lot of those randomized friends names. I did see the friend names when I pulled open like my friends list. I saw like 2 or 3 of my Steam friends, and I love that. I love when games
Yeah.
pull from like my real data. Sometimes like Inscription did that. Inscription has a moment where it looks at your friends list and it makes cards based on those friends, and it like blows your mind. I like that little element here, but yeah, I was just hitting randomize. I went with that. I didn't go with that for the other games because
Why?
well, I just did randomize every time, and I didn't want to type. I was using the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
I didn't want to
Honestly,
type.
yeah.
I didn't want to invoke the keyboard and like type something. So I was just, if you give me a randomize option, I will explore the randomizations. And for the second game, I can't remember if this was like my username or my real name, but one of the randomized names was Tub, like TUB. And I just rolled with that. I liked that as like a short name. I manually typed that into the third game. So I was known as Tub for 2 of the 3 games.
Amazing.
How about you?
I went and looked at some of my old AOL screen names and was well and truly embarrassed for myself because I was too young when I first made this and did not understand that having the screen name Brat Girl something like with some numbers was not a good idea. So I didn't know that. So that was like my first AOL screen name was like Brat Girl something. And then it became Pete's Girl because of Pete Wentz. And then I think we went back to Brat Girl for a while. So then in Emily,
let's take it
I
back.
was like full circle. Maybe this is somehow the least weird option. The fangirl era ran deep. And so then in this, I think I did do Pete's Girl for one because it made me laugh really hard. And then I did like a randomizer, but I don't remember what it was now, which is frustrating.
I think I randomized. Well, for the screen name, I definitely randomized like all 3. I think, or actually, I randomized the first 2. Like for my my player character's actual name though, like my actual name, I randomized the first game was Sloan, and I liked that it felt gender neutral and it felt kind of cool, so I just kept it through all 3. But I completely forgot the first 2 games what my screen name was. I remember like not liking my second one as much. It was Left Brain, the second one with like a 3. And I was like, yeah, that's like kind of, I don't know. I just got tired of hitting randomize.
That's fair.
And then for my FaceNook profile, I picked like XXXS WXXX because for Sloan, my player character, and then I gave my player character a W last name, so they were SW, and that's their thing. So I have a boring answer. I don't remember like
My third one, I did remember that I based it on a character that I was writing about when I was that age. So I named it like her government name was
You're so cute.
was that one, which was
Nice.
cute.
I like the meaning that sometimes we can attribute to these choices. And, it's not going to affect the playthrough as far as what choices could be made, but it gets you immersed. It gets you a little bit more involved.
Yeah. You're creating your own buy-in so easily.
Yeah. This is actually
and they make you make your little profile right away, like your own, like your own away messages and stuff.
Yeah. There's a lot of choice there. I mean, a lot of nostalgia there with what icons you're picking. I wrote down all my icons for all the chapters of Emily is Away, and I was just recognizing, even though it's pixelated, it's very tiny representations of movies and album covers. If you know those things, it's you know them. They're burned into the brain. And so like I was picking in the first game. I'd love to know if what you chose.
Absolutely.
The first game I chose, Lord of the Rings. I didn't really identify with a lot from chapter 2. I ended up choosing The Matrix. I went with Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind for chapter 3. The Gorillaz album cover for chapter 4, and then the Red Hot Chili Peppers icon setting for chapter 5. Mostly because those were the ones I recognized.
There was an early Blink-182 album one there. I grabbed that one for sure. I did a little bit of research on what to put in to get some of the secret icons because I really wanted the Night in the Woods icon. So I did that one for a while.
Fun.
Because it's just I just love May. And so
I didn't know that was an option.
Yeah, I think maybe, I don't remember if it was in the first one or the second one, but they have like, for each of those ones, you have a bunch of stuff you can put in to get like more modern, as in mid 2010 internet options, which was cool.
Yeah, it might have been Emily is Away 2 for that one because that game might not have been out around the time of the first game.
To figure out.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was 2. Yeah. Cool.
From what I can remember, I know in Emily is Away 2, I was very excited to pick like a lot of the music ones. I know like there was like the early Rihanna album cover. I picked that one. Lupe Fiasco. There was the Office icon. I stumbled on some no, I feel like everyone got this. I got Rickrolled because I was clicking in someone else's profile, and that's how I got the Rickroll icon.
No, not everybody gets that. You gotta. That's a secret one. You gotta find that. You did a great job.
Yay! Well, I got Rickrolled because I was being nosy. That's why I got that one. And what else? But it was just fun because sometimes it would be like really hard to like pick between them. There's like the Fray in one of them, and I was so hyped because I was like, I haven't thought about this album in so long, but I love the Fray. It was just it's just like that easy identification.
Is that
what was that?
The one with the glowy orange lights on the front.
Yeah.
That was at the beginning of Emily is Away 2 because that's the one I picked for that game. And then there was like My Chemical Romance.
Yes.
There were icons from games. There was a reference to the first Portal. There's like a Portal cube.
Yeah.
Really cool stuff.
Yeah, I love the amount of like time and niche things they went into for those, because it's like that is what like the type of thing that you grab is like exactly that genre of fandom. Okay, it feels like we're treading now out of mechanics into world lore plot because the mechanics put you in the world so clearly. But we've got a cast of characters that the one person who recurs in each game aside from ourselves is Emily. The platonic ideal of our bestie, I guess, maybe, or I don't know. And then we've got in the first game, you're set up with sort of you, Emily, you have a friend, Emma, and there are two boys you went to high school with, Travis and Brad. I think those are the main like named
Yeah.
folks
Yeah,
in the
that
first
sounds
game.
right. Mhm.
In the second game, we add another sort of main female character, Evelyn. So we've got Emily, Evelyn, and then their respective shithead men in their lives, Steve and Jeff. And then
Mm-hmm.
in the third game, we've got Emily, Evelyn, Matt, Jeff, and is Steve back again? I didn't write him down, but I feel like maybe there is a Steve. Maybe not.
Steve might be alluded to briefly. We also have Anna is in the third game, and Kelly is in the third game.
Kelly. That's
Yeah.
who I was
Anna is more
forgetting.
minor, but Kelly, I feel like she's
prominent. Yeah.
she's pretty prominent. Yeah.
Did we talk about Brad? Did we say Brad was back?
We said Brad exists. We didn't say much about any of these people yet. We're just
Okay.
establishing that there are these characters over the game. All of them. Kanisha, will you explain one in better words than I can about how these are? They call them spiritual sequels, but each game is set up.
Yeah. So they're just not direct sequels. I wouldn't even say continue the story. I can't explain in better words than you, Claire, but I I forgot all of the words that would be used for this. But yeah, they're just not continuous. It's almost like a sliding doors situation of like, let's take the similar cast of characters and put them in like a different relation to the technology, or like let's re-explore the story again, and let's put them in like slightly different time periods too, based on this is the way that I interpret it, but it seems like the first Emily is Away is all about that transition from your senior year of high school to the first year of college, and like what happens to those relationships there. Emily is Away 2 is almost like a prequel, but a spiritual prequel. So like Claire is saying, like we established, it's not the exact same group of people, but it takes you, the player character, Emily, and your friend, introduces your friend Evelyn, and then focuses mainly on your senior year of high school, and stops right before you all go off to college. And then Emily Lesson 3 just is a big shift in platform. So you're back in senior year, but you are now in a later period of time because you've all transitioned to FaceNook, and this is how you're mainly interacting. So it offers like comparisons, and it's fun. I think this is a fun way to kind of expand on a game, because I think it points to like maybe what the attention of the developer and like what these games like are to us as players, what the story is, because it's not about like, oh, we need to know exactly what is happening and like directly what happened next and how did these choices carry through and blah 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 blah, but more like it's about the milieu and like how these platforms kind of like aided or like changed your development and like what it meant to interact in certain ways in order to build relationships on them. So I don't know. That is kind of what I gleaned. Yeah. But anyways, yeah. So as to take away, yes, it is not like they're not chronologically all the way through, but their chronology is important to like the world of each game and how you kind of compare them to each other. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think a big surprise for me after all these years of only having played Emily is Away was that the second and the third game exists on their own. You can play them by themselves. You could play them in any order, arguably,
Mm-hmm.
and get kind of the same messages out of all of them. It's not necessarily important to play the first game before the other two, in my opinion. I always prefer playing games in order of when they released if I can. But yeah, I always expected Emily is Away 2 to be a continuation. It's not. These are these are the same names of all these characters being utilized, but I would
Mm.
call these anthology stories. They feel
Yeah.
like this is not the same Emily game to game. It's not the same Evelyn from 2 to the third game.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily get anything out of trying to play your own character as the same person in every game, because they're all set in different years that
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that that's necessary either. But yeah,
Yeah.
it appears that Emily is Away takes place over the longest period of time because every chapter
Yes.
takes place over the course of a year. So it's 2002 to 2006. Once we get to the other games, it starts to be more seasonal. It starts to be a shorter time period, but we're still jumping ahead like
Mm-hmm.
several months at a time.
I appreciate you like pointing that out too, or like saying it with a bit more clarity, Beau, because um I'm thinking about again like it's kind of like pick your game, right? Like it offers you the opportunity, like you're going to have a very similar experience with all three. So it offers you to like the opportunity to be like, this is like the era or like the kind of use that would relate most to me. And so if you grew up on Facebook and that like is more easily legible to you, then you can pick like Emily lesson 3 and then walk away and you're not missing a whole lot. Um, Not to say the others aren't valuable. It feels good to play them all and like to compare and like, oh yeah, and, make those kinds of observations. But I do like that it kind of you don't see that a lot. I think in series sometimes where it's just like you're offered the choice of like picking a world that's more immediately that matches you rather than you getting dropped into a world and conforming to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love what you said, Kanisha, about picking up Emily is Away less than 3 in 2021, and that like that was your starting point. And I imagine every single person who comes to this series is going to have their own starting point, and it's all valid. I love when
Mhm.
series are more approachable and accessible in that way. And this
Mhm.
is just by nature of like how they constructed the stories and made them separate. It allows a lot of freedom.
It also feels so to me it feels so like clearly like fanficky in that way of like this is a developer
Yeah.
who loves the characters that they've created and has like found a way to keep those feelings alive and interesting in each version of the game without necessarily needing to like overcommit to big huge character decisions about what's going to happen to these people. It can be more like slice of life, hit you in the feels, and the like structure of the game is sort of doing that differentiation.
Yeah.
Okay, before we go into like the plotty plot, who do we think should play each version? Like, if you're gonna give advice to folks who want to pick up one, and obviously, I kind of agree with the general concept of playing them in chronological order if you can, great. But like, I don't know, if you want the shortest experience and perhaps the most ships passing incarnate experience, I think go for the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want the shortest sit and to be able to say you tried a game in the series and you didn't, you don't have a lot of time in the world, the first one's going to give you a very complete experience.
Mhm.
The second game might be recommended for people who want a little bit more and who still want like the best like I guess, average experience across all three games. Like, what's going to be the game that best represents what this series is about? Maybe 2 is the best one.
I
Uh,
Mhm.
agree.
and then 3 is going to be for people who grew up with Facebook and can appreciate that layout more, maybe. And then also people who just want a more substantial, longer experience. It is the
Yeah.
longest game. It is maybe around 2 hours longer than the second game. And the second game is like an hour and a half longer than the first game. So they just kind of keep getting longer. So that's what I would say, I think.
While we're talking about this, something that I like this question too because it makes you think about like what is like unique about them because while we were chatting, I was like, oh, what are the things that happen in all three games? And it is like you have your player character, you interact with Emily, um, you decide to like go to a party or not go to a party. There's maybe like some discussion about your relationship to drinking, and then you make a choice about what your like relationship to Emily is. Um, or how you express what you want your relationship to Emily to be, and then you see kind of the fallout of like what your relationship is. And it was just so interesting to me because I feel like what we kind of like touched on a little bit, or like I'd be curious to see how we feel at the end of our conversation. But even though like Emily Lesson 3 is the most distinctive because it's a different platform, I feel like story wise, Emily is Away, the first one, Emily is Away is like kind of most different out of the three. It's like in story structure wise, because like the relationship arc, kind of the impulses or the thoughts behind that ending, the I don't know, maybe I didn't get enough endings, but it's just like, to me it stands out a little bit more. It's like this is a full like not even this is a full story, but I like what you said, a complete experience, um in kind of like a capsule, in a way that like 2 and Lesson 3 like aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I
they
think,
feel a bit more I feel less sad when I finish those for some reason.
yeah.
Yeah,
One
it's
The
hard to put a
first,
finger on it.
yeah, the first game is definitely there is an inevitable outcome in the first game. Every
Mhm.
player, I think, is going toward the same funnel at the end. You're going to
Yeah.
see the same thing. And this wasn't just my second time playing Emily is Away. I think back in the day, I did play it like 2 or 3 times. This was like my third or fourth time playing. And
Mm-hmm.
I intentionally tried to say different things that I don't remember saying. I still got the same outcome. So I think
Yeah.
the first game is much more focused in what it's trying to say.
Yeah.
The second two games, I think, are giving you more freedom and choice and more branching paths and more endings. And there's value to both, I think. I think this
Yeah.
series has range with what the games accomplish and what their goals are.
Yeah.
It was like it feels painful to confront these games sometimes where it's like, oh my god, like
Yes.
literally this is just like, oh god, it's so to just make the sounds like that's such a what an erudite way to look at it, but like it just really they really figured out a way to be like, you're even though you don't like regardless of whether or not you the player are like into Emily or not, you still feel that like I need the response. I need it like what do you mean? Like what
Yeah.
what?
Yes.
And it's just
Yes.
it's like I don't whatever they're doing it well in that regard. And I don't know if that's just like the decades of being notification pilled now, or if it is from just the
Yeah.
game, but like either way, it's so the stress that I felt in the second game, there was a moment where mechanically you are given 6 seconds to reply to eat like but and more than one person is messaging you at a time and you only have 6 seconds to reply, and like it is physically impossible in the game to be able to manage both of those conversations at once, and you will have to fail at least one of them. And that moment, I was like, I literally sat up on my couch and I was like, Claire, this is a video game and neither of these are real people. They are fine. Like,
Yeah.
because they're both like going through a relationship problem, and like one of them is the person I felt more close to, but the other one felt like their problem was more severe. And so I was like
Interesting.
really kind of like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about how you guys felt in that moment, but like, yeah.
I think that was one of the series' strongest moments, with
Definitely.
not just forcing you to make a choice, but making the choice so temporally based on you need to respond within 6 seconds, and it's immediately communicated with that progress bar that's just going down. And I was in the middle of, I'm using my Steam Deck. I'm mashing on those buttons. I didn't know about the accessibility setting that Kanisha pointed out in the second game. I only knew about it in the third game. So
I literally couldn't type fast enough.
Right. So even if you had that turned on, you would run out of time because it's forcing you to choose one. But I'm still like mashing the buttons, which is making it more dramatic. And I found myself actually switching tabs just to see how much time do I have left with that person, and then switching back to the other tab. And that's only making my situation more stressful. And that, I think, is a moment we don't see anywhere else in the series. I think it is for that game, the second game. I think it makes sense for that game specifically. And they made it count where they did it. It was just so great to then put us on a path, one of two paths in that game. And I think it's like chapter 2 or 3. It's like roughly halfway through. And so it really does set the course for a lot of what you see next. I loved that part. It was stressful. I was also like,
I feel it viscerally in my body just mentioning it. I'm like, oh God.
And you kind of know what's going to happen before it happens. Like, you know, time's running out. One of them's going to get upset that I'm not responding soon enough. I just know it's going to happen. And then they say it.
I was getting so mad also, just like as an adult now. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean I have 6 seconds? 6 seconds? What if I want to write a heartfelt response to your problem? I need more than 6 seconds. I was so angry at these women, so angry at the game.
Yeah, I mean, it also too, I think the game wants to throw you into a bit of a trap of like mixing them up too. And I think it does that a few ways. One is it's having you talk to Emily and Evelyn, which visually, if you look at those two names side by side, they kind of like resemble each other. Yeah. And you have very similar options of what to say to both of them. They're both going through relationship shit. And I started to worry that I was saying something to Evelyn when I meant to say it to Emily, or vice versa. And you're kind of giving like the sentiments of what you're saying are so similar that I'm getting jumbled. And so, yeah, the way that they combine the options too of what you can say is genius.
Before we start moving into endings now, is there anything else we want to add to our big spoiler alert, spoily stuff? I love that you can poke people.
Oh yeah, you can poke people. I love that you can go to people's profiles and do a quick glance at their photos and some basic information about them, like where they work. Like I was doing a little bit of investigative stuff. Never is that necessary, but the option's there, and I appreciated that. I think I do have a criticism with these games, specifically the second and third one. I think the storytelling does have moments where the seams show themselves a bit. And it's where the games never want you to be talking to so many people at once that you feel confused or like unsure of where to proceed the story next. And so it largely is having you talk to one person at a time. There are moments where you're talking to, let's say, your friend Matt, and Matt knows that you have an interest in another character. That other character will come online, and Matt will say, oh, I guess they're online. I'll leave you be so you can chat. So that's Matt's cue to exit so that you can then talk to, let's say, Emily. I feel like that is not very faithful to how online interactions and communications play out. So there were just moments where I feel like, okay, this character is coming up with this excuse to get out of the way so that I'm not chatting with too many people at the same time. I don't remember on Instant Messenger or Facebook Messenger or anything like that, anybody ever saying like, oh, I just noticed someone came online. I'll let you talk to them. That's not the etiquette.
You maybe weren't hanging with the girlies, Beau.
Maybe that was something I was going to ask. Like, is that something? Okay. So maybe there is something to that, but that was not my experience. I do think they were happening
concurrently usually. It's like, did you see he's online? I'll let you guys chat. But then it's like 2 minutes pass and then your friend is like, eyes emoji. What's going on? Like, where if they had done something like that, I think it would have been a little more.
That would have been.
I would have bought it more. I would have bought that more. Matt came back 10 minutes later or at the end of the conversation and was like, huh? Yeah. What?
Also, I'm curious, in the like early Facebook days, did people write on each other's walls
Yeah.
to set up plans to be like,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
I'm bored today. Do you want to go to the mall? Is that something
Yes.
people
Yes.
did? Yes.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
have a few old ones. Yeah. Where
Yeah.
it's just like,
Yeah.
hey, like we did this and like here's a funny joke about like something you said early in the day. Like and
So
I think
many.
you couldn't I don't know. I think at the time I had like joined Facebook you could comment directly on those posts, but I think there was a point where you couldn't. And so you really did have to go back and forth like that on people's walls to have conversation.
Yeah, that's right. And there are so many eras of early Facebook that honestly, I think this game gets away with having some
Mhm.
anachronisms in a way.
Yeah.
Like I'm not sure the DMs were a thing in 2008. They could have been, but yeah, I think it's kind of combining a lot of ideas. And it's not Facebook, it's FaceNook, right? So we
Yes.
just kind
Yeah.
of at the end of the day, you
Yeah.
get it, you know. I've seen all of these pieces throughout my history with social
Yeah.
media. Yeah.
And the little
Mhm.
green light will get you anywhere, anytime. Doesn't really matter what the interface is. The
I
crush with the green
know.
light. Oh my God.
Yep.
That's what's like so that is what is so much to me because I remember I'm like transported back to like my friend's like middle school house and like her family computer in the room and we're having a sleepover and we like watch him come online and then like we're all like psst, like they're like okay here's what you have to like and this person's online or they talk like if
Are they
it's so
talking to each
good.
other? They must be talking to each
Exactly.
other. Wait, she's online, but we're all here, but he's online and he's not talking to me, so he's probably talking to her.
They went off at the
Oh
same
my
time. Where
God.
did they go? Like,
Yeah.
oh my god. Yeah.
We're
So
really
good.
showing who we are.
Literally.
Well,
Um,
what I love about the third game is it also leaves those very overt clues on
yeah.
the timeline. So
Yes.
people will post stuff on each other's walls and you can intuit what's going on or what conversations are going to come up. Like this is a preview of what the idea is for this character in this chapter. Like they're flirting with them, maybe, like maybe they have a thing going on. That's probably going to be something that someone approaches me about or that I have the option to approach someone about
But I
too.
can't freaking see one of those people because they won't accept
Yes,
my friend request.
I
And it's like, I
know.
had already, there's a character who like maybe is talking to Emily and you get very Twitter pated about it, but it's like, is that person like what's going on? And so I was like immediately, this person's on her wall, boo, 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 Facebook stalk, whatever, like FaceNook
that's
stalk,
so
excuse me.
you.
I tried to add him as a friend, did not accept me.
Same
Then
here,
later when
Claire.
someone, yes, okay,
Yes,
because then
same
somebody
here,
points
Claire.
it out later. And then I'm like, oh,
No, I've sent a friend request to that person in like chapter 3, chapter 4, and
yes,
5 came by and they still hadn't accepted it, which is months, which is
yeah.
insane.
You
Where
were
it's like,
at
you
the
know
party
you
together.
saw it.
If
You
you
saw
went.
it.
You saw it. You chose not to react to that, is what that means. But you reminded me of another praise I can give these games. Something that I really love when story-heavy games do this. It's when you, the player, have the option to do things like send a friend request. And there
Yeah.
are occasional moments where you're having conversations with people and someone might say, oh, you should, this person, my friend of mine from class, I convinced them to join FaceNook. You should send them a friend request. And maybe I've already crept on their profile and I've sent them a friend request. And then I have the option to say, oh, I already did. Or they might say, oh, I see you already did that. And we always like shout this out on Underplayed. DiscoCola and I call it conditional dialogue, where like
Yes.
you do something as the player
Yes.
and then that unlocks the ability for a very specific like interaction to happen because you did that thing. And so these games find ways to do that. And I think that's really clever.
Yeah. I think
That.
Emily there is a moment in 2 where Evelyn sends me a link and I knew what the link was, so I didn't I was just like, yeah, da 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 like this song. And she's like, no, click the link. And I was like, oh, okay, you got me.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
I was like, I'm scared, but yeah. I will click
That's
the link.
good. Yeah, there's like some multimedia stuff. Like people send you files every now and then, but like especially the playlists, the YouTube links, That's really fun. I love the presentation of that they made like a YouTube TOOB site, but embedded within it is the link to the actual like YouTube music video. And none of the links were broken or anything. They're all still up and they
Yeah.
work and everything. It was very seamless. That was another challenge while traveling because I had to make sure I was connected to Wi-Fi to see stuff. There were occasional moments where I couldn't see someone's YouTube video just because I was on an airplane, right? So I didn't have airplane Wi-Fi, but you still
Evelyn will
have
never forgive you.
but you still have the option to respond and say like, "Oh, I love Snow Patrol" or whatever, like whatever it is. So you can get away with it. But I always felt bad. I always felt bad that I didn't actually like watch the thing, but I did watch it and leave it on in the background, like you pointed out you could do when I could.
Rad.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think, okay, last thing before we go to endings, for real this time, is we've sort of danced around it, but I wanted to just take a moment and chat a little bit about gender player character experiences. Like Kanisha mentioned earlier, having like a cool sort of genderless name. I felt like throughout the game, I felt like throughout the games, I felt like my player was a different, like, could it be a different gender, or thinking a lot about like how this game would feel as a queer love story versus how this game would feel as like a heterosexual love story, and that it feels so dramatically different when I was like thinking about playing as a woman versus thinking about playing
Mm.
as a boy
Mhm.
hilariously, because like I feel like I played game 1 as like a boy, like as a guy from the school, and then I feel like I played the third one as a girl, and it was like a very different type of experience navigating those like feelings, which is something I don't have a lot of experience with
Interesting.
in my life.
I agree.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
had a moment like that with like two, where they kind of start talking. There's like a confrontation because Emily breaks up with her shithead boyfriend and wants to come visit you, and like the fallout from like whether y'all drink or not when she visits, and like what y'all decide to do when she visits, like the conversation that you have about that, I was like, oh, through, like, I still feel like a boy in the way that, like, I'm being confronted with this, and like the undertones of like safety and like, did you plan this? And like, you know, kind of interrogating that versus like in lesson 3, I do feel there are like less moments like that. There are still some, but less moments like that where it's like, oh, you're talking to me as if like these kinds of like social niceties or like social norms are applied differently. Like
Mm.
there it's more like, oh, and that's just Sloane, and Sloane's there, and that's what they look like, and but like you can choose the frame of your player character's body, and there's a moment where Matt sends you a picture and you're they're like, oh, like you're like, you look at you putting the charm on Emily, and Emily's frame is leaning on yours, and I'm like, wow, like I like this, but I'm like, what, like would the conversation have been the same if the game didn't have to ignore that I chose a female frame, or like, you know like it would in real life, like would someone see that like Emily leaning on me like that as
Mm.
like an actual like move, or flirtation or something like that immediately. So that was like, I'm glad you raised that point, Claire, because it was something that I was just like feeling as I was playing, that because I played chronologically, I felt ease a bit as I was playing, but still
Yeah.
present. Yeah.
Hmm. Interesting. I remember back in the day playing Emily is Away and playing the character who I was, choosing dialogue for as like myself. I remember being like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna be a boy, I'm gonna be me, and I'm talking to Emily. It's like a very much one-on-one interaction style game. As I got to Emily is Away 2 and Less Than 3, I did pick like a male presenting frame for FaceNook, but I feel like I was not playing myself. Like I wasn't putting in any names that I've used in the past for my screen names. And I don't know that I was thinking about my character as having a gender. I think I was just thinking of playing it as a person, is how I took it. And part of that could have been because Emily is Away is so devastating, or it was to me back in the day, that like I didn't want to get hurt again. And so
Literally.
I didn't want
Yes.
I didn't want to insert myself in the same way. But I still got a meaningful experience by just like playing as what I thought of as a person. I guess I didn't think about the gender roles of my player character and what it meant. But you could replay this game with like a different frame of mind and yeah, get those hints about certain things. I do think there's a moment where your character is referred to with they them pronouns. I can't remember which game it is, but I remember that sticking out and being like, okay, it's not forcing me to be something, which is good. But yeah, that's super fascinating. And everybody can kind of come to this with their own decision on that. This is a conversation that recently came up on my show when we had our guest Jenny Olander, who hosts a radio show about LGBTQ news and issues and things. And she raised the question of like, do you play Coffee Talk? That was the game we were talking about. Do you play Coffee Talk as yourself? Like, do you call your barista Beau or Claire or Kanisha? Or do you give them their own name and do you sort of role play? And I haven't played a ton of these, but I feel like I always flip flop. I'm always going back and forth between like, depending on how I feel right at the start of the game, I might kind of just be myself, or I might role play as someone with a certain temperament that I don't really have. And sometimes that's fun to explore too.
Yeah, I feel like the D&D tabletop gamer in me, or part of the reason why might be backwards. Part of the reason I enjoy tabletop games is because I grew up enjoying dating sims and stuff like that, where you are sort of like, which maybe this is a, hang on, is this fucked up?
Be
We're gonna find
yourself.
out.
Say it. You can't edit it out.
Exactly. So, because I think it's really interesting because, and this is maybe rooted in gender again, but a lot of like growing up a woman is figuring out how to position yourself in, especially in romantic situations, against another person and their needs and their interests. Especially like I grew up in a very conservative area, like there were just a lot of expectations. And so I think it's like, yeah, it's just really interesting seeing the way that the games like this present their player character against the romantic interests, or like along with romantic interests, and how much agency player characters are given in those things. Where like sometimes my biggest criticism of these games is that it sometimes just feels like I am literally a vessel to love one of these women, and like I don't know, like, you know, but most of the time I didn't feel that way. Most of the time I was like, this is a whole freaking world and I'm in it and my head is spinning. But I think if I was going to try to pick like a problem, the problem is that like I wish there was a little more I could do for my own characterization to feel that buy-in, I guess. But the gender of it all, yeah, I do think by the time we got to 3, the inherent gender of the player character was less like written. By number 1 feels like you're kind of like supposed to be playing boy, I think. Number 2, I felt like you could go either way, and I did feel like there was a little bit of writing, and I would have to go do like a closer reading of some of this, but just as I was thinking about it casually, I actually felt like there was a little bit of writing with the Evelyn of it all that made it more compelling to me of like, maybe I am a girl. Like, maybe I am a girl going through it. Like, maybe Evelyn is sort of like seeing something in me that I haven't seen in myself yet about my own relationship with Emily that, like, I'm not ready to do, you know, like, so I was making up a whole story because I don't know. I was like, what are we doing here? What are the possibilities? And then by 3, I was like, going through it. And I was like, I guess I'm this, like, girl whose best friend is this guy Matt, and maybe Matt knows that I'm queer, but like other people don't know, and so that's why Matt's like, oh haha, you and Emily, like I don't know. Me making up whole background stories for reasons.
Yeah, you were digging.
It's okay. My fan fiction love means that I love backwards generating lore and headcanons, and so I feel like this game is so good for like backwards generating your own lore for why you're making the choices that you're making.
Yeah, there's like a lot of
Yeah.
specificity for the dynamics of the relationships, but there's also a lot of open-endedness to read into things.
Hmm.
And I think there's strength to that. There's so that's again something that every player can get something differently out of this, which is really cool. I always love when a story-based game especially allows every player to get something a little bit different out of it. And as we get into Emily is Away Less Than Three, there are there are a lot of decisions. There are different endings. Apparently, the ending I got, less than 5% of other players also got,
Okay,
which blew my
now's the
mind.
moment. Now
Yeah.
is the moment. Dear
Same.
listener, if you're concerned about listening to the endings, time to hop off, go play your games, come back and find
Oopsie.
us right here. We're gonna be here because we simply have to get into it now. We've been talking for well over an hour. Let's get into the endings. Firstly, literally, as Beau alluded to earlier, it is literally impossible to get a good ending in the first game. It is literally impossible. Though there are multiple endings, they are all just different flavors of sad.
Depression all the way through. Have
There are
your
Yeah.
3 endings, I think, in the
SSRI
first
next to
one.
you.
There's
Oh, there
like
are
her
3
making an
endings.
excuse and ignoring you and not talking to you again. And then there's like goodbye, Emily. And then there's like one other one that is a little bit more like she's angry about what happened.
Oh, okay. So I feel like I've always gotten the goodbye, Emily,
Yeah.
where like, and this is like my perception of like what this means has changed over time because I used to think that it was just like about the hopelessness of trying to carry on a relationship from high school into college. And actually, more broadly to me, what the end of Emily is Away means is that people scatter and go live their own lives, and you don't necessarily stay close to all the people you think you will after high school. Like
Yeah.
people, you don't know everybody forever, and you have to kind of just be okay with that. You have to say yes to that. That's because I very much in this replay was not trying to romance Emily. I was very much her friend. I was interested in other people. She was dating Brad on and off. I wasn't showing a romantic interest, and we still grew apart in the same way that we grew apart when I first played the game and I was romantically interested in her. And so to me, that just kind of like read as this person is in a different place now. It is now 4 or 5 years later since we first started doing this on Instant Messenger. They need to go do their own thing, and it's time. I didn't know there were those other endings though. That's wild.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
guess it's like if you I believe it's like if you don't if you refuse to engage with her about the conversation after her visiting, she just like gets mad and cuts you off because you basically are given the option
Oh.
to be like, we don't have to talk about this. Which like I am sure it makes sense that so few people get that because most people who are playing this game want to empathize and want to know more from the character about what she's feeling. So you're like asking to find out more. But some people are like, I don't want to talk about this, Em. And she's like, fine.
That's
And
so
like
crazy.
Wow. Yeah,
and that's
I
that.
would never even want to choose that out of
Right?
curiosity, even, right? I would just feel bad.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's just, yeah, if you don't talk at all in 2005, Emily refuses to talk to you in 2006.
Hmm.
So is 2006 just super short? Is it
I
I
very
guess.
believe
brief?
so. Yeah.
Too
Whoa.
busy.
She's just so like the responses are so like awkward, and then it's yeah, it's just really quick. It goes by quick.
Oh
The
my gosh.
deleting of the messages, like when you're typing and you're writing the real stuff and then it's
Yes.
like forcing you to delete, you're like self-editing and I'm
Yes.
screaming at my own
Yeah.
self like,
I
be
know.
honest.
And it starts doing that in chapter 1. I wrote down some
Yeah.
examples of this. In chapter 1, there's a moment where you can say you're my best friend and you retype to you're one of my best friends. And the weight of that, what each of those means is very different. And there's so much storytelling with just deleting text and retyping
Yeah.
text. There's another one where you're asking Emily about Brad and you ask, how did you two get together anyways? And then you just delete anyways. so that you're asking, how'd you two get together? Because there's like a passive aggressiveness that's communicated with the anyways. I love that. So it's doing that like every chapter. And then the last chapter, you want to ask very serious questions like, is this it for us? The more she is not willing to like answer your questions or continue the conversation in an equitable way, you want to type things like, is this it for us? But then your character retypes it to questions like, seen any good movies lately? And then eventually, oh God, it's a
so
bummer.
Painful.
Yeah. I think it's the only game in the trilogy that makes me feel quite that way.
Yeah.
And and back in 2015, that, not to be like back in my day, but like,
No.
a decade ago, that felt like a revolutionary way to feel in a game, especially a game that you can sit down and play for less than an hour. Absolutely incredible and stunning that they can pull that off, and that it still hits today.
Yeah. This is something that came up for me like in the gender discussion too. It's just like it's really interesting to think about who the imagined audience of this game was, because it's a style of game that is so now like marketed towards women and AFAB people and queer people, but the character, again, like as we were talking about, the hinted character feels very much like a male character. And I think part of that too is like, I don't know how many games at this time, like visual novelty chat simulator types of games, that were focused on like relationship building, were there. Like, I'm curious about the contemporaries, because it kind of like makes you think about like, who is this for? And like, how many opportunities would they have had to walk away? Because I was thinking about that too, like, oh, that is such a clash. Like, especially now, like in the time of date with us, like so many of the games, we pick, like there's usually a lot of options, and it's clearly marketed towards like women or young girls or things like that, or queer folks. And so, yeah, I think like looking backwards, it was really interesting to see what like I perceived as like not a clash or a mismatch, but a tension, and like try to think contemporaneously like how that would have been presented then.
Yeah. Well, a lot of these questions about like, who are these games for? What is the message that lands on everybody with these games? That can sometimes be just the byproduct of who's working on the game. And this is largely Kyle Seeley making all three games. I don't know much about Kyle Seeley. I can infer things based on these games, but I think this is one person, largely coming up with these stories. Whereas
it feels so memoir, like even if it's not like, and obviously this person, like I'm sure this is a fictionalized version of things that we can all relate to, as are many stories and games. But like like I love memoir. When I was in college, we had to study something. I got a theater degree, but you had to do some other kind of creative thing in order to get that degree. And so I did like memoir style creative writing. And so it's just always been something that's really interesting. And this felt so like, how do you get in that mode, in that mindset, experiencing someone else's life? And it did really feel like for Emily is Away, it really felt like I was in someone else's AOL Instant Messenger, experiencing their story, like I was like, oh, this is how boys think, like what my options are, like this is what my options are, like like when I was playing in 2015, I was like, this is the inside scoop, this is what they're doing, like I'm getting the look inside, and now I'm like, oh God, Claire, like
I relate to oh, not that part, but I relate to that. Just kidding. I do relate, because something I was thinking about was like, it feels like for a specific group of people who grew up in a specific like moment in time, or a similar specific moment in time, there everyone like has an Emily, or like I remember these like boy girl like intense best friendships. I have a player character, where it's just like, you were like we did everything together every day, and there's just like this weird like, what is this? And then they're just gone. And it's like, I think that the intimacy of that is so stunning because again, like it's the world and it's the that's doing a lot of that emotive storytelling. Because I was working through 2 yesterday while I was like in the server, in a server with like a whole bunch of people who are just chatting and like a Discord server talking about like Slay the Spire and stuff. And I was like streaming this. And I was like, oh, as like something to watch someone play, if you're not like super into games like this is super boring. Like the actual text of the dialogue is like so dry. Like not much to like from someone who's not actively doing it. Like it's just like, why are you doing this?
Yeah, it's hard
like,
to jump in and like understand what's going on sometimes if you're not there from the start.
Yeah, I feel like it speaks so much to like the way it was developed that like you kind of need to be the one in the driver's seat to like really feel and really understand like what's being told in the story. And it's like very delicate too. And so it's so interesting because I'm like thinking about memoir and I'm like, there's so many words, there's so much. Like memoir can sometimes be so ruminative and like so specific, and so to be able to capture that kind of rumination but with like such sparse tools to work with or to present with, I think is like fascinating.
Agreed.
To like, I feel like it like I use this word but this is probably not the right word, like, but it like triggers you into those emotions of like of rumination of like what are these things for me, like whether I'm ruminating on fictionalized Emily or like actual one who got away or like whatever you want to call these things, or lost friendships, or like because they can range from, I feel like that's the thing with Emily is she can range from feeling like a lost love to feeling like that person who you wish you had just like stayed in touch with because they always made your day a little better. And then it's like, oh yeah, they went somewhere else and something happened and I don't really know anymore. And now we don't know each other.
Yeah. Back in 2015, when I played the first game, I was using Emily to like ruminate on people that I had feelings for. I was going back as far as middle school when I used Instant Messenger, because it wasn't the right time period for me. I used AIM in middle school, whereas this takes place senior year of high school into college. So there's a misalignment there, but the sentiments are there. I was thinking about someone that I would message every night and I tried to go on dates with even, and how things didn't work out. There are a lot of parallels. So like, yeah, I think there are things that are universal, but also things that feel very personal in a way. Like this person is drawing upon personal experience to craft this. But
and walking that delicate line of what's happening in the game, what we're able to see versus like having to reference back to real life things, which is always so interesting to me, both in real life in the digital scape when it's like, oh wait, when we all met in real life, it feels very different than when you are talking to your friends on the computer. And so those juxtapositions of like in the first game when Emily comes and then you're talking afterwards about what happened, and it's like this is my question for you, Beau. You played Emily is Away, friendly friends. Does she say that you hook up when she comes to visit, or what happened there?
Let's see. Emily asked if we had feelings when she visited, and I said not really, and that she needed a friend. And I chose to ask about Emily's regrets, if she had regrets about that night and how things went, I think is what that was about. I had a thing for Emma. And I chose to say that I talk to Emma all the time and that she's just a friend, I guess. Sorry, I'm referencing my loose notes from the first game. And then that was too much for Emily to hear about Emma, even though I claimed Emma was my friend. And so she had to log off. This was at the end of chapter 4. Chapter 5 comes around. Emily's back with Brad. Emma started dating Mike. Remember Mike?
I do remember Mike.
That's a guy.
I did this too.
Okay. So I'm not in a relationship, which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
Emily has lost interest in sharing, and by this point, and all the options slowly turn to goodbye. So
Is that what your notes say? Because I think that's hilarious to have written on paper.
Yeah. I have chose to say, oh wait, I have Emily has lost interest in sharing and asking me questions, and slowly all my options turn to goodbye. And then I have retyping, is this it for us, to seen any good movies lately? and then I said absolutely brutal, inevitable end. Those are the last of my notes for the first game.
Which is, yeah, that's exactly it. But even your notes about the game sound diaristic, which is so funny.
I think the game put me there, you know?
Yeah, it just really,
Yeah.
Okay. Other stuff about ending of game 1, because I need to complain about the end of game 2.
Ooh. I don't have
I want to hear your
else.
complaints.
Yeah,
I have a freaking soapbox level complaint. Okay,
Wait.
are you ready for this?
Pause. Did we date both Emily and Evelyn? Did we do runs where we dated both? I honestly only dated Emily all the way through. So okay.
I only dated Emily. Yeah.
I want to replay with Evelyn, but I did not yet. So all of us are Emily truthers.
Dang.
Yeah, Evelyn just didn't. I didn't click with Evelyn.
Me either.
Look, it's not called Evelyn Heart, okay?
Oops.
Yeah, it's not called Evelyn is away.
Unfortunately, I did feel more like Evelyn. I was like,
Yeah.
I agree with these qualities in a human, but
I was just like musically, or like, I was doing like the census fail and stuff. I felt like I was lying, but I wasn't, because I was also a big indie sleaze person. But anyway, your complaint. Claire's complaint.
I had to go for Emily because Emily was like, yeah, I don't want kids. And I was like, okay, great, we're in alignment. But okay, so this is where my complaint is. In game 2, you're talking with Emily, you're talking with Evelyn. Each of them ask you questions about your likes, your dislikes, your values. And one of those questions is, are you, like, along the lines of your sexual experience? And basically they're like, are you a virgin? And with Evelyn, I was like, well, I don't know. How do you define, what does that mean? Like, I don't know. Because in my mind, what I had decided was that my character has been to third base, which for those who don't know is mouth stuff. Okay. So I was like, that's what we've done. How are we defining that? I don't know. Ha ha ha. And then Evelyn is like, okay, great, whatever. So I had that conversation with Evelyn. Emily asked me if I'm a virgin. I say yes.
But you got caught out.
But I didn't lie. I didn't lie. That's my fucking problem. So then they talk at the end. These two women talk at the end. These two women left alone in their art classes. They go to their art class, and then Evelyn's like, no, not a virgin, lied to you. And then Emily thinks I lied about being a virgin, and there's no opportunity to clarify. It's not like I can be like, well, I just meant third base. Like, there's no option for that. There's no conditional dialogue.
We need conditional dialogue for that.
Yeah. I was literally so mad because I didn't lie about anything. Like, I was like, I can't lie to them because they're going to talk. Like, I don't know what they're going to do, but I know what this game is going to do to me, and they're going to talk to each other, and they're going to know. And I worked so hard to make sure that, like, I wrote down the things I said so I wouldn't fuck up and say the wrong things. And then I was like, God damn it, me in the weeds about sexual experience is what cost me my love life in Emily is Away too. So
that's the shortcoming of only having 3 options sometimes, is like there's little nuance, there's little exploration sometimes where I feel like the situation demands it. And
the dialogue did. They gave me the option to be like, sort of. But they didn't tell me that would mean yes to Emily and no to Evelyn.
That's the other thing, is like sometimes you pick something and it's an abbreviation. It's a more concise version of what you'll actually type. I'm like, oh, I know exactly what I'll say if I pick this, and I pick it, and my character types that sentiment, but then they like tack on more, and I'm like, no, I don't want to say that either. I don't want to say that too. What are you doing? No, that should be its own option.
I'm messaging my crush like, we don't want to say this. Oh no, enter.
Yeah. Well, there are other decisions, other options that you can choose in the second game that can lead to these outcomes too. Like if you mix up your interests, if you mix up like what music genre you're into, apparently that can cause this to happen, which I think I'm like, okay, I think everybody is allowed to change their minds about what their favorite music genre is. That can change for me like day to day. And the fact that it would lead to such a big outcome, I kind of disagree with. I wish that it kind of led to another moment that gave you a decision point, and then that decision point was more substantial, and then maybe that leads to an outcome regarding romance. It's this superficial stuff that I kind of disagree with, but like I don't really understand the ending I got in 2 because I didn't state the same genres and things always, but I wasn't called out as a liar. I was like, I guess they were close enough that they were fine, because I had the option to say that my favorite music genre was alternative with Emily, and then I said that it was punk rock with Evelyn. And I guess those are similar enough that they won't have a problem with it. But I thought at the time, like, oh, those are different answers. I'm going to get screwed later. They're going to talk to each other. And then I guess like it was similar enough. But
well, I think it's like Emily will ask you later questions. Like, I feel like one of the early ones is like, blah, 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 warp, like hinting at Warp Tour. And it's like, if I feel like if you had said like, oh, if you had known what it was when you talked to Evelyn, but you picked an option with Emily that made it be like, oh yeah, that thing. It would have. She has like later questions where she's like,
they're set up to like catch you just agreeing with the person you're talking to. So if you just agree with whatever the person you're talking to says, that's how they like catch you in a lie.
Okay. I must have gotten one of the more emotionless endings, because there was no drama at the end of Emily is Away too for me. There's like, let's see. Evelyn so I was pursuing Emily. Evelyn told Emily lots of great things about me and let me be when Emily came online, and did the thing where it's like, oh, looks like Emily's online, I'll let you two chat. And then Emily and I are not headed to the same college, but we affirmed our feelings for each other and decided to keep dating into college. Overall, a hopeful, happy ending. Very little happened for me at the end other than like, hey, we're going to keep trying this thing.
Okay, I got that ending too, except I think one of the earlier points where I could have confessed my feelings, I was like, we're friends. You're going through a lot. I was traumatized by the first game because I confessed my feelings early, and then she was like, you were too weird for that. I was going through a lot. So I was like, no, you just went through a lot. We're friends. And then my ending was, are we more than friends? And then she's like, yes, we are more than friends. So we started dating at the very end.
Oh. Yeah. So you can establish that way later than I thought. That's cool. Yeah, I think the first game. Yeah. Because they caught you.
They caught me lying about not being a virgin, even though I'm not. I am a virgin. Like, oh God.
Yeah,
they should have added parenthesis like, is virgin penetration versus virgin oral? Like they should have.
But I'm saying if they hadn't given me the option that said like sort of or whatever, because I was like, okay, great. Like if they had, this is the third option, chaos, because it was like there's a yes, there's a no, and there was like a sort of, and I absolutely picked sort of because I was like that's the most interesting option here also, and like that age group, that time of your life, like sort of feels like such a good, like I was like there's something good there, and then it just sort of felt like it got a little fumbled. But I just wish it had been a little clearer. Like maybe if Evelyn had been like, so you're not a virgin.
Yeah, then it would have helped
like
you.
That of like declarative. And maybe she did and I was just too locked in or something. But man, I was so mad. I was so mad.
Well, that's how I felt about the alcohol. I immediately replayed like I think chapter 1 like 1 or 2 times because I went through like because the fake ID guy, when you talk to Evelyn, Steve, I was like, I feel like in all the options, you end up like being like, oh, Steve, cool. Either way, like all 3 is like some kind of positive, like Steve, okay, I need an ID, or like, do you want his connect or whatever? And I was like, she's not catching me. I don't know. Like, I don't drink, but nothing that I said to Evelyn ended up being I don't drink. So I'm going to tell Emily I do drink, so that later she's not mad at me for lying, or she's like, "Wait, you're friends with Steve?" But like, no, mama, I drink a little bit sometimes, and you need to get over it.
See, the way that this game actually makes you have a toxic relationship because you're so afraid of like changing at all as a person. Because it's like you should be able to evolve as a person and like
totally
talk about that. But it's like really very
it's hard.
intense.
Well, I don't even think it's like changing as a person, but it's just like, oh, I hold like a couple of different, like, how do you handle gray space? And I do think like something that my Emily said in 2 was like, when we got together at the end, she was like, oh, she called it out actually. She was like, yeah, I used to think we were incompatible over superficial things because like, you know, I don't drink, but you do sometimes, but actually that's not what matters about compatibility. Emily was at least given the ability to change and like change her perspective, but the rigidity we had to have in terms of being consistent. Yeah.
Also, I'm a verbal processor, so I feel like I sometimes have conversations with friends about interests and stuff that are more like experimenting how I feel rather than like solidify. You know what I mean? Like, I do want to hear about Warp Tour. Like, I'm not going to be like, fuck Warp Tour to Emily. I want to know.
Like, you're curious. And it's also, again, it's high school. Like, people are allowed to express different interests, try new things, have conversations about things they haven't had before. And I feel like, that you're sort of locked in. It's like, it's more of a memory game. Like, do you remember what you said? Do you remember what you committed to?
Yeah. But I feel like there is like something to this about how puritanical you can be as a kid in like certain, if you grew up in certain environments or something like that. And that's how I kind of felt about Emily. It was like, oh, it's a story about how like, you know, maybe you were sheltered a bit or whatever, and you had to learn how to like push yourself, challenge yourself a little bit. Because she is drinking by like the end of the game, and you're like, wait, what the fuck? Why are you drinking?
Like, you good?
Yeah. And having that immediately be a red flag, I was like, oh yeah, like that is. It made me think like how would a student, or even how would I have acted or like responded or felt about. I did have a friend who like I stopped being her friend because she like was taking me home, and she's like, let me stop by this random like person's house and I'm gonna smoke weed and blah 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 blah. And I was like, oh, please never take me home at once. And then
I also used to be a real hard ass about weed.
Yeah, it's just things like that where it's like, oh, okay, I get like that kind of like being super rigid about it is like perhaps a symptom of innocence or like childishness that like you kind of move through as you're playing the game.
Yeah, definitely. There's on the Steve stuff, I remember like the options. I was really afraid of what I'd be locked into with Steve because was it Emily or Evelyn who brought up Steve? The fake ideas. Evelyn.
Yeah, Evelyn.
And I had the option of saying like, oh, I better keep his name handy if I want a fake ID, or like I better talk to him or something. And then I was like, oh shit, is that locking me into being interested in alcohol? And it didn't seem like it was the case. It seemed like it was kind of just a cheeky joke. And sometimes when you're talking to certain characters, things you say have different weight depending on who you're talking to. Like people will take a kind of a mean joke better than others. People will read into what you say more seriously than others. And I think that's really that really announces itself in the third game for sure.
Oh yeah. Game 3?
3, yeah.
3.
So 3 has a lot of choices, a lot more choices and like decision points and branching paths. And I got a screen at the end that broke everything down. I did take a screenshot of this. Would you be interested in just hearing what happened
Yes.
in mind?
Of
Okay.
course.
I would.
So it says you and 51% of players chose to go to Emily's party, which right away, there's like a 50-50 split with who goes to Evelyn's and who goes to Emily's. That blew my mind.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
I too was shocked.
Yeah.
But
So
then
I assume
I would love the breakdown of what of that is people who have played both.
Yeah.
You know, like I would be curious
Absolutely.
about that.
Definitely. Because like I'm an Emily truther. Like I'm just going to pursue that story, any story that allows me to talk to her, not necessarily have a relationship with her. Like I just want to know what's going on with Emily.
Yeah.
So right there,
I'm just her friend. I just care about her.
yeah, right. Her name is on the box. I just want to know what happens to her. Then after that, you and 49% encouraged Emily to befriend Evelyn again because Emily felt remiss and like there was something that was left behind. Evelyn was with Travis, I want to say, and Emily gave her an ultimatum and was like, hey, it's either you're my friend or he has you wrapped around his finger. And so I was kind of shocked that few players wanted to have them rekindle that because it seemed like there was potential there for a good friendship. Then you and 67% did not tell Emily any rumors about Matt. So that was about us like making a promise that we wouldn't share that about Matt. Is this where we
told
differ?
Emily. I absolutely told Emily. You and 16% of players told Emily the rumors about Matt.
Wait, you and 16? Oh, it does say there's another one. I don't know what the other option is.
Yeah, I don't know what the other one. I think because I tried to do something a little bit more like I didn't promise Matt that I wouldn't, or I didn't promise whoever that I wouldn't tell. I like kind of hedged that statement of like I'll do my best or something.
Okay.
And then when it came up, I didn't like go into detail about what had been said about Matt's crush and stuff, but I was just like, "Hey, like I don't know. Pay attention or whatever." And that counted as like I told her about all the rumors and I was like, whatever.
I think I did
I was
make
like trying to be transparent with my girl.
Yeah. I think
We
I
were
did
dating
make
by
the
then.
full that makes sense. I made the full promise. So I felt like I had to live up to that. And I think I made the full promise partly because I wanted to earn someone's trust. And so if I make a promise and I live up to it, like, hey, I'm going to have a friend, I'm going to have someone on my side. So I was kind of thinking ahead with it, which probably isn't the healthiest way to do it. But, I felt like it was a serious enough topic that and I don't get to make promises that often. So I was like, yeah, I'll promise. And then me and 67% of people did that. Then you and 37% canceled date plans in order to see Matt.
Whoa!
Listen. I can explain.
This is why we don't have men on the podcast. This is crazy.
I was like, as you're reading these things, I was like, so this is gender. I'm starting to see gender.
You're on trial now.
I'm sorry.
State your case.
Explain yourself.
I'm guilty until maybe proven innocent. I probably won't.
Exactly.
Good luck.
Matt was having an extraordinarily bad day. True. And we were going to hang out with Emily. We had a date with Emily, right? Which we had before. I told Matt, or how did it come up? Was it Matt's idea or mine? Do you remember if it's Matt's idea or if it's the player characters?
Like to hang?
Yeah.
I think Matt tells you he's like not doing anything, or like he like tells you what he's doing, and then it gives you the option to be like, do you need like, should we do something? Or I think it was something like that.
I think it was like, hey, do you need company? Do you need a friend right now? And then I think Matt says, I'm free tonight. I don't have anything going on. And then I say something like, well, I have plans to see Emily, so I'm not sure I can make that work. And I don't think Matt pressured me or anything, but I'm also talking to Emily. And I say that, oh, Matt's having a really bad day. And I think I See, I can't remember if it comes from Matt or me or Emily. Probably doesn't come from Emily.
Does not come from Emily.
No.
Emily does not suggest canceling your date.
I go, Matt's having a really hard day. Could we hang out another time, maybe even tomorrow? And she said, yeah, that makes sense. And she was actually like, seemed happy and enthusiastic about it. And I saw it as, we can make other plans to hang out, have a date, which we've done many times. This is the worst day of Matt's year. I want to be there for my friend.
Mm-hmm.
If Matt wasn't such a shithead, I think I would have more sympathy to extend to the man. But I get it.
Then, did you get the storyline? So does everybody get the chance to sign in as Matt? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So then all the stuff with Jeff starts happening. And Matt's like, oh, you got to see this shit. He's writing on her wall. She's writing on his wall. Oh, you can't see it. Sign in as me. And I did that. You and 32% didn't talk to Jeff when signed in as Matt. I couldn't do it. That's not going to make a better situation. I
Kanisha,
avoided.
Did you do it?
I have to come clean.
You didn't finish 3, did you?
I did finish it years ago. Here's what happened.
I knew it.
I logged in and I got confused and I deleted the wrong thingy because I had like my finished thing with the summary.
No.
And I wanted to start over. So I remember like most of what I did because it was like,
oh, that's so upsetting.
yeah, I'm really sad.
That's
because I was like, damn it. It would have been so good to compare, but I think it's gone. So
it would have been
Oh,
really cool
shoot.
too because apparently the actual good ending you can't get until you've done a full run with the other woman.
God.
What?
Yeah, if you want a good, like if you
Oh,
want the
wow.
best ending possible with Emily or Evelyn, you need to do a full run of the game with love interest opposite woman first.
I'm so
Which
upset.
there is a whole series on Steam of how to go into your save file and make changes to not have to do that. I didn't do
So,
that, obviously.
I'm going to
but
stop
that-
playing right now.
Yeah,
and go
it's
see-
not. I will say I didn't think that like the ending that I got was like overly sad or upsetting, but like apparently to get the actual good ending.
Interesting. So you had what sounds like kind of a neutral ending with not really like heartbroken emotions.
This is what I'm struggling to remember because as we landed, 32% of us didn't talk to Jeff. I wonder what happens when you talk to Jeff. I did not intervene over Jeff. And then
I also did not. So that was most people. You and 65% chose not to intervene over Jeff.
I will say I think I did intervene with Jeff. I think I did take the opportunity to talk to him.
Whoa.
But I don't remember what happened.
So then this last section, I think, is a major divergence for people because I only got me and 4.4% of other players got the ending I got.
Oh my God, what did you do?
Well, at the end of the game, this is the last chapter, Emily starts messaging me and we've been seeing each other. We've been calling each other babe. We're in love. We say we love each other. That has not ever wavered in the whole game. And the entire game, my guard is up, even though I'm being lovey-dovey back and very caring and like looking out for her, except for when Matt's having the bad day, I go hang out with Matt. In the last chapter, Emily looks at another couple who have decided to not put a label on what they're doing. They're like just seeing what happens with time, but they're not calling each other partners. They're not calling each other boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever it is. They're not making promises on seeing each other into college. They're just kind of like seeing what happens. And she says, why can't we? She has a mixture of sentiments. One is, why can't we do what they're doing? Two is, I don't feel the same way that I did when we first were together. Is that normal? Do you feel the same way? And I ask her things like, do you want to see other people? And she says no, but then she kind of says that she does. And so she's not very forward about what she wants. And she's like, honestly, just wants to take a break. And I say that that sounds messy because it's very undefined. And then I say, you know what? It seems like you're out. I think we should just break up, because she's insistent on like, we need to take a break. And I keep asking, what does that mean? And she's not giving me a straight answer. And so I say, it's time to break up. Then Matt slides into my DMs, and Matt's like waiting in the wings to like see what happens with me and Emily. And then he's like, oh, I'm sorry, man. Like, let's go to this party. Like, we got invited to this party. Let's go hang out there. And I think it's with Evelyn and Anna. No, someone else.
Kelly? No.
Maybe Kelly. Yeah. They have a party. I go to the party with Matt, as you know, we're all just friends. And then the day after, we're writing on each other's walls, and like Kelly/Evelyn's like, oh, so great to see you and Matt at the party. Like, we had such a great time. So it's kind of a happy ending. There was a breakup involved, and talking to Emily through that was very uncomfortable. That's the ending I got.
I think I got the breakup, no party.
Oh.
And you and 29% of people got this ending, because I think I didn't help Matt out that night. I wonder if because I didn't go to Matt, he didn't come help me, and I just got broken up with and was
damn. Oh no. So Matt didn't talk to you?
We decided. Well, Matt didn't like. I don't think he did. Like, we didn't have that like little, or maybe we did have a little interlude. I'm gonna have to. God damn it. Now I'm like, do I need to boot this game up and see how this ended?
I know, right? Well, I think the chapter for me opened with me talking to Matt, and then Emily comes online and Matt's like, oh, I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
And there were some things going on with Jeff writing on her wall still, and like some uncertainty there. And so Jeff. Matt checked in with me. Maybe Matt checked in with you too at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then at the end, Matt kind of bookended the chapter for me.
Yeah, I do feel like Matt is an important figure.
Yeah, I don't always click with a lot of what he has to say and what he does.
Wait, was Matt single at the end of y'all's runs? Like, he got dumped? For real?
Yes. I think he and Kelly didn't get back together.
Yeah, for me, he and Kelly broke up in like chapter 2 or 3. And then I don't think he was ever with anyone else. It could have been implied in my ending that he was going to see Evelyn or someone else from the party. I'm not sure.
No, in my ending, everyone hated Matt at the end, and I do think like he was like
that's because you got
non grata. Yeah, I was like, honestly, fuck Matt. He's out. Me and Emily are cooling.
Matt is our best friend at the beginning of this game. And you said goodbye, Matt.
Because he was annoying anyway. He was irritating, and he was playing too much and getting involved. Because why would he post that picture?
He's such a high school boy. He's such a high school boy. I feel like I knew Matt.
He's the one who's like overly flirty with everyone by default. And he's like, sorry, that's just how I talk. Right? Yeah.
I can't help it that I would touch your hips. They're just there.
You're gross.
I did never hear that. What?
No. He's just giving that vibe.
He's just giving
that. He's giving that 16-year-old boy who's like tickling girls on the side, like tickling their sides or whatever.
I in chapter 1, I was like, I don't want anything to do with Matt. And then
I don't feel good that he's our bestie.
No, I don't feel great about that. But at the same time, like, I really felt for him when he was going through that breakup. And it's like, I feel like this guy needs a friend. Like, this guy doesn't have a friend. So that's why I made that decision.
Doesn't deserve friends. Just kidding.
Oh,
everyone deserves friends. Sorry.
Yeah, these are what the endings. I'm just gonna read us out loud what all the endings in Emily is Away 3 Less Than 3 are called.
Okay.
Together, player broke. Together, other broke. Together, on break. Ultimatum, apologized. Ultimatum, denied. Ultimatum, upset. Broken, denied fault. Broken, admit fault. Broken 2, won't talk. Broken 2, denied fault. Broken 2, admit fault. Together 2, realistic. Together 2, forever.
Okay.
So there's a lot of endings there.
Wow. And it's probably a mixture of decisions you make in all the chapters that like different permutations that lead to all these things. It's not just what you do in chapter 4 that leads to what happens in chapter 5. It is what did you do with Matt? Did you go to Evelyn's party or Emily's party? You know, that's the first big split. So yeah, it makes sense that there are so many endings.
Yeah, 5 endings and 14 sub endings. And then the sub endings are the ones that you get the percentages for at the end.
Okay. How did your compatibility quiz end up? When Emily sends you the compatibility quiz and you take it and there are the percentages of matches, I ended up matching very closely with Emily, who I was seeing at the time. But a close second was Kelly. And I was worried that that was going to lead to like an uncomfortable conversation, and it didn't really.
I most closely aligned with Evelyn while dating Emily, which was a little bit of a moment. So I was just like, oh, we're friends, LOL. Like I really was just like, I treated it as a joke immediately. And it was mostly okay. But the stress that I felt when the test came back, I was like, I'm cooked. I can't send this to her.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do?
No kidding. And it feels like that's why that quiz exists in the game, is to create tension. And so I was on edge too, taking it. And I was just answering like how I think my character would based on how they were answering things prior to that. But I was still thinking like this thing is rigged so that I am going to match with Evelyn and I'm dating Emily. Fucking hell. And then it was 94.
It's not rigged.
It's not. Which, like, to the game's credit, there's a lot of variability.
Yeah. Oh, God. And, like, did it not feel like you were absolutely thrown backwards in time with the Facebook notes and the quizzes and, like, did you read my note? I'm working on a new note because I want to do this little Q&A. And, like, who are you talking to right now? Someone really kind of cool. And it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah. And, like, what are the first 2 letters of their first name of the last person you DM'd? Well, I guess T and U. Who could that be? I remember back in the day. Dub. I remember back in the day, students would post their like semester schedules in those notes.
Yes.
Yeah. That was like the main reason you looked at them. And then also to like take music quizzes.
And you're like running to your crush's Facebook page to see what classes you have aligned. I have so many old things in my Facebook that are tied to like that group of people from that time of my life. Like it feels such a microcosm of I felt like seeing those little pictures, even though they're all just like pixelized one color people, I'm like, I have these pictures on my Facebook. Like that could be people that I know. Like this was like when we went to the park at the end of senior year and all hung out. Like this is what this was like. And like it was definitely just a wild vibe.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I'm quite literally in the game files, like trying to find or like digging through these files. I'm like, where is my
Don't worry,
save?
she speaks code.
Kanisha's digging.
I'm like, where is it?
While you look, I think we can definitely get into did our choices really matter? Because I think they really matter.
They do really matter
so much. And I think they mattered as the games went on, like even more incrementally. So
yeah, like the longer the games are, the more decision points there are, and thus the more endings there are. So like as the series goes on, the more your choices do matter.
And like I felt like the more my feelings were on the line a little bit. I was like, damn, now I feel like I know these people, even though they're entirely different every time. Like but
well, like I'm like guarded and I'm on edge for something bad to happen, even if like I'm being authentic and telling the truth and being consistent in what I say. I also know that I don't have full control over what happens. And I saw what happened in the first game. So I'm just ready for
relationships.
Yeah. I'm ready for heartbreak at any time.
Like, yeah, you got to go into it. You go into the first one, eyes open, heart clear. You're going to give all your love to Emily and it doesn't work. And then you got to do it again and again and again before it will even maybe work out a little bit. And like, I don't know. I do feel like that's a pretty good how relationships work in life, and that you can't have any of them unless you're brave enough to take those moves and make those moves and like put your heart on your sleeve even after the away message goes up or whatever. But I'm a big like make the bold move, tell people you like that you care about them, like, and this is definitely the kind of game that really just only solidifies my belief in that as a practice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm too deep in it.
She's coding Emily's Away 4 right now.
Emily is way 404 error.
404 error.
I
That's
didn't
good.
say
That's really good.
there is like
She's
if
off
you
the
go. Can you hear me? Oh
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh
No, we can hear you.
Okay, so if you go on Emily's profile and then you click someone and then you click someone else, you get the developer's profile. And then if you click on Kyle Seeley, which is Kyle Seeley, you get to his profile. And there is a link that takes, it's called Emily is 4D.
What?
And then you click on it. Now, I think you do get rickrolled again. I got rickrolled again. I got rickrolled twice.
So you do get rickrolled.
But I did see it. I don't think it's happening because I think it's like, but I thought that was funny. So there is
God.
Emily's
that.
4D. What could have been?
I love that. Wow. Well, the last one came out in 2021. It is 2026. Previous to 2021, it was 2017 when Emily is Way 2 released. So there could always be a fourth. You never know.
What social media platform would you put? Maybe this is actually what we're leaving behind in the game. This is the question we come back to at the end of the episode. But I'd like to come back to what social media platform we think it should manifest in.
Yeah.
Kanisha, anything else you want to say on if our choices mattered?
No, not at this time.
Success! What is it? Did we have fun? I certainly feel like I failed every single step of the way. And I don't necessarily feel like I had type 1 fun, but I did have type 2 fun where I learned something and had to work at it and dealt with my feelings. I had fun, but oh my God, it hurt.
I found it!
Yay!
Oh, let's go!
God. Okay, keep going. So sorry.
My favorite part about Date With Us episodes is Kanisha's always doing something live. In the episode,
I love it.
some story is being told.
I'm like not freaking out about something.
No, it's good. It's good. Yeah, I think Success, what is it? Did we have fun? I had fun, but I also was like sad and introspective a lot of the time in a way that I think was good for me emotionally. But oh my God.
Yeah. If you're not sad a little bit, I don't think you're playing Emily is Away.
Yeah.
You're
not reading it right.
Yeah. I think success also for me looks like I get an outcome and I can somewhat at least trace back what I did and how that led to the outcome, because like I can't hope for like always the best outcome, but I do enjoy seeing how my choices make a difference in games like this. Sometimes I play games, sometimes choices and decision points are a little muddled with how they affect things, and that can be really frustrating for me. But largely when I play this series, I can look back at what I did and I can trace things and be like, okay, that must have been like me talking to Matt and consoling him, being there for him as a friend. That must be what led to him helping me when I needed help. I like that. There's logic to it in every case. Some of it is a little thin, like with, do my music genres, my virginity, my music genre preferences, are they consistent? I'm like, would that lead to that outcome? But I also get that is what led to that outcome. And that feels good that I can understand that.
So that's what is it? Did I have fun? Yeah, I do think success, especially like as the games go on, I think there's like success is like learning how to handle like these kinds of change and like the arc of a relationship and like learn about that for maybe one of the first times in this character's life, like the ebbs and flows of like the cast of characters in your life and how prominent they are. And then kind of moving on to like, how do I manage multiple relationships with people that are interrelated, to moving on to how do I manage conflict within a web of people, and like understand the fallout from like the choices and how they affect other people. And so I think success is just, I mean, obviously there's like endings to work toward, but I do think success is like managing those decisions and taking them seriously as a player, to do like a bit of reflection on yourself. I think success is growing as you play. So that for these games in particular, I think that's emphasized. There's a lot of player psychology going on that may not have been intended, but it's been fascinating to kind of like dive into. And then did I have fun? Heck yeah, I had fun. I just dug deep to find like all of the remaining choices that I didn't overwrite in the game files. I had so much fun for years and
Nice.
for the past 2 days. So it was just fun to be like, also too, like having had to get over a crush recently, it was fun to like be in that mind again of like, they're replying to me, da, 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 da. Like I mean, I'm the kind of girly pop I am. It's always fun to play a game where I can do that. I think it's
good.
yeah, for good reason. Imagine if I were like, fuck this. But it was really fun. And I think this is a unique chat simulator too. Like, I don't really know how to get into it, but I think so many chat simulator games have all of the other like programs like in the window of the game. And so I like that I like that because it's so antiquated, like it can really play into linking you out to things and like making you do other things in your computer. All of these little elements that, again, like as we talked about at the beginning, like the immersion's just so fun. So that is really what makes it the most fun, I think. And I'm very curious like how a younger player would experience that. Even like primarily using a desktop, because like all those kids are like touch UI and like mobile UI only. So like just like the kind of simultaneous like things running at once and like all that kind of screen management and stuff, like that's like very interesting to see like how they would feel about it. I mean, they're all little like weird Roblox addicted kids too, so maybe like it's not that weird. Like I don't know. I just think it's like, I was really curious. Maybe I'm jumping ahead.
We'll keep moving forward so we can get to I was going to say propositions, but go do with that what
prophecies. There you
go. Interesting. Ranking the games.
I was feeling the length of the third game for the first 2 or 3 chapters, and I was like, okay, this definitely feels like 4.5 hours. Mm-hmm. The last 2 chapters really captured my attention and really had me invested in what was going to happen, and things pay off in a super satisfying way. And I think that's only possible because it is the length that it is and that it gives you so many decision points. One is like an indelible experience for me. So like I have that bias of like I played it so long ago and it's been in the back of my mind for years. And it has a very specific message that I think like really speaks to me and like what I've experienced. I think I would go the third game as my favorite. I'd go the first game second, and then I'd go the second game third if I ranked them. And it's pretty close. Like it's like there's not one that's far and away number one. There's not one that's far and away in last place. It's like pretty dang close for all 3.
I want to say I'm torn between going Beau's order and going just backwards, 3, 2, 1. I'm torn because 2 is so fascinating. Like, I don't know. I think it's because it's like we get like actually that tension, and like we talked about like how stressful chapter 3 and 2 was, that I'm kind of like the stakes, like the rise in stakes felt really fun. That it sparkled for me, but like the emotional journey of 1 is just so rich that I'm really torn. I might go 3, 1, 2 for now and reserve to right to like undo it later.
Yeah, obviously it's a tight race, but I feel a little wild. I feel 2, 1, 3.
Ooh, okay.
I think I
But I
get
think
it.
one is such an experience. You know, like one is such an
Yeah.
experience that if I'm like if I just let my like the weight of my sentimentality win here, then it's 1, 2, 3. But I do think like being the stakes in 2, like I got so fucking fired up about 2. You know what I mean? Like,
How
and
many
I'm
games
like,
make
if,
you feel that way?
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, and I want to go back, and I want to, like, you know, like it's that kind of thing. And so I do agree with feeling the length a little bit in 3, but also that it was like necessary. But yeah, I think it might be 2, 1, 3.
Hell yeah. I think
Yeah.
2 would rank higher for me if I had a more dramatically interesting experience. And I think just with the decisions I
Yeah.
made, with how safe I was and how consistent I was, there wasn't the
I
drama
was just
other
such
than
a good guy. There
I
was
was
no
like,
drama. I was so
listen,
perfect.
listen, I was just really good in that game. But other than that, like high tension moment in chapter 3, nothing else in that game came close to reaching that height.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still an amazing moment in that game and in that series. It's just like the rest of it feels a little forgettable, that I don't really remember everything from the second game without consulting my notes. So I think that's why it just gets last place, just barely for me. But I totally understand why you'd rank it first.
Yeah.
Given
I
my lived
wish
experience.
I feel like if 3 didn't exist, you know, then 2 would be, because it feels very unfair to 2. For me, like I'm kind of like, that should have been the game that was this platform, or like blah blah blah. Like I think 1 and 2 as like a pair and like not a true sequel. I think it's like, oh, these are improvements that were made upon the original game and giving you like that added element of like, will they or won't they with 2 different people, and like and so those 2 as a set, I'm like, ah, yes, and I conceptualize them as a set. But like 3 like is so different and is like that, I don't know, it's just, and there's more of a world because of like the nature of what Facebook is. Oh, maybe not more of a world, but like more of an experience. Yeah, it just stands out. But I think I really relate to you because, like, yeah, the 2 just being like, ah, like what's happening? Like I said, the stakes of it, the emotional stakes felt super ramped up. And I was impressed with that.
2 does feel like a fulfilled promise as a response to the first game. Like the first game feels like a
Yeah.
proof of concept, and the
Yeah.
second game is like, oh my gosh, people really liked the first game. Now, like this is Kyle speaking. Kyle's like, oh, I'm going to make Emily is Away 2, but it's going to be TOO. It's not a true sequel, and it is
Yeah.
like the game I wish I would have made the first time around. Now that I see I can do it, I'm going to make Emily is Away 2. That is kind of what it feels like as I look backwards.
And the music in
Same.
2 is great. From
Mhm.
both playlists are
Yes.
great.
Yes.
I think 2 has my favorite like
Yeah.
playlist. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, it made me want to like freaking burn CDs and like write love notes and like make oh god.
Oh my gosh, there are so many moments where I was like listening to, what is it called, The Diary of Jane? Like the lyrics, like immediately. Maybe I don't remember the title, but the lyrics came back immediately because I was like, that was my jam.
Okay, when Evelyn sends the red jumpsuit apparatus domestic
no.
violence song,
my
and it's like,
God.
oh my god,
Like, girl, are you good? And
well,
you
and
know
that's
what?
why I was like, her issue is so serious. I was like, I gotta
Yeah.
respond to Evelyn. Her issue is so serious, and then I totally let it fall, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
oh well.
But that is like also so real. Like you always, like, I feel like when you were chatting, you always had the friend, and it was just like alarm bells, DEFCON 1, like, but like, you know, and not to make light of it, but it was just like, oh shit, someone just dropped something huge on me, and I have to like, it was just, whatever, not on me, but you know what I mean. Something just. You know what I mean? Like this huge thing just came
No,
up.
you better
and it-
scream again.
Someone just dropped something huge on me. Huge and hard.
Whoa. Ayo.
Hey, yo.
Hey,
Oh
yo.
my god. Well, speaking of, not a lot of spice. Let's get into ratings here. Not a lot of spice, I
Not
feel.
a lot of spice. I I've listened to other spice ratings, and I have a little bit of a calibration for this, right?
Okay.
Because oh shoot, I'm wondering if this was the spice or the romance rating. But I feel like for Hades and like Hades 2, you were sitting at like a 4 and a like 5.5 for those games.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a 1.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a 1. Is that fair?
No, I'm gonna give him ones across it. Well,
I think, okay, I will make a slight argument. I think 1 for the series is probably right. I could see trending up 1.5 to 2 just for the fact that there is explicit physical intimacy between characters in the first game.
yeah.
And that but also it was not good. So I'm like, it
Yeah.
doesn't actually make that rating go up much more than the fact that explicit energy happened. But so I'm like, it's not a 0.
It's not a
But
0. I feel like
I'm gonna stick to a flat 1 because it's just like for it.
there's
Sorry,
not a
Beau.
lot of no. Yeah, I get it.
1 makes
But-
sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just like it's not for the purpose it's serving. It's not to titillate us, not titillate, but it's not to titillate us as the player, and it's not to like it's just not.
Sorry.
Okay. Anyway, it's just like it's like a line, you know, like
Mhm.
yeah. So I'm like, yeah, it's just not a strong presence. It's a strong presence in like the consequence, but I'm like, this is just it. This truly is the smut was for the plot this time, and
Yeah.
it was not smut even. It was just sex that happened. So
Yeah,
for that one,
maybe
honestly,
because they did just say hook up. They didn't like explicit. And
Yeah.
as we know in the Emily is Away series of games, they have a complicated feeling about what we define as what. So
Yeah.
in fact, if I had talked myself into a 0, I'm like, actually,
I think give it a 1. It's like clearly, you know,
sex did happen in
it
one of these
occurred.
games.
And like there is the overtone in Matt and Kelly's relationship in 3
Yeah.
that there's like, you know, physicality, and we see physicality between our character and Emily, and like, you know, there's
That's
like
true.
a little bit of something there. It's
There's
not
leaning
like
there's leaning on your shoulder at the party in the picture on FaceNook.
yeah.
1.
Yeah. 1. That's a 1. Yeah. They're not even
It's like
I
adding
wanted
pepper to
more
your food.
flirty. I wanted more
Mhm.
flirty between the characters too, I think. Like
Yeah.
in the romance sense, shifting a little bit more toward romance. Even when we're getting together with people, like, or at least with Emily, it feels a little bit more like a negotiation than like
Ooh, interesting.
than I'm like confessing my big feelings.
I guess like your answer here might depend on what path you took too. Like I could see someone giving this a 3 and another person giving this a 2 or a 1. But I remember like the ways that I was flirting with Emily when we were in a relationship in the 3rd game. I remember her saying like, "Oh, you've got me smiling like an idiot over here."
Yeah.
You know, those things that people would say over AIM back in the day, like it's the young love, it's the puppy dog love.
Yeah.
You know, and there's something to that. I don't know. I feel like I could give this a pretty low rating too. Maybe not a 1.
Yeah. It's got
hard.
young like young romance vibes big, but it doesn't have like what the word romance feels so loaded and big that like to be like this is romance central, like I'm like no, not really, like 4.
I'd give it like a 3.
I don't
maybe.
hate 3 for this. I think I would do 3 overall. Yeah.
I felt like sometimes the way they were speaking felt more like what I heard in middle school as opposed to like high school or like even college. They're like in college in some of these games.
Yeah.
I feel like it was maybe sometimes they were writing at that lower age level that didn't match where they were supposed to be.
if Kyle makes a fourth one, I want to encourage them to lean into, let's elevate the rating of this game.
Yeah.
Let's actually rate the game PG-13 or even R and like see what happens in the fourth one. Like, it doesn't have to be like slasher U level smut, obviously.
Hell yeah.
But like, I would be curious of what it looks like to open up that. Like, he's so good at intimacy in these games, and so I would be curious about like translating that type of intimacy.
Right.
The characters need to sext.
Yes,
They need to sext. They need to be on Snapchat or something, or like. Wouldn't that be crazy, actually? That'd
Wait,
be kind of
God,
crazy.
you're opening
overall
pictures.
ratings, and then we're getting into it.
Stop.
Wait, we're so close.
We
We're so
keep
close.
jumping to the next one.
I know, we're so excited to talk about Emily 4D or whatever. Emily 404. Overall rating for the series.
For me, if I averaged out my scores for all of them, I think I would land at a 7.5 bows out of 10 bows. Very positive. The highs are high. The dramatic moments are very dramatic. It is sometimes monotonous. It is sometimes a slog, especially in the third game, to kind of get through the chapters. There's the stuff with not really always feeling safe quitting out of a chapter because you don't know when things saved. There are some questionable decisions the game makes with consequences and like how enormous the outcome is given what you did. I have a lot of the same disagreements that you both have shared, but still overall like a very memorable experience. A great series for being an anthology series where every game can stand on its own and provide something different. So yeah, that's why I'm overall very positive.
I forgot to do the here on Date With Us. We take a page out of our No Small Games Girlies book and we rate on a scale of ourselves, as Beau alluded to, because he listens to the show, which does earn him points as a man. So
Thank you, Beau, I guess.
But yeah, I think my rating also hovers around a 7.5. I'll bump it to 7.5 just for the interfaces giving me so much joy on the way that those are built, because it's like getting to change my little font colors. Like, goddamn, if I didn't write 120-page Criminal Minds fan fiction that was entirely written over AOL Instant Messenger and copied and pasted as I wrote that to my friend in blue Comic Sans, like, it was bringing me right back. And I think that's important for me. So 7.5.
I agree with you both. I'm going to go with a 7.5. I think I love clicking on stuff, as we learned. And I'm just like, yay, I get to be nosy. The nostalgia factor did work. I think sitting down with the games is crazy how easy it is to talk about the games longer than the actual games themselves are, which is hard to find with a lot of these games that are sometimes free. They're sometimes solo developers that, like games like this. And so to like have done something so effective, so affecting, within as a chat simulator, like I think that's super cool. And it's just like it's iconic. Like I feel like it's if you went and polled someone, like people about games like this, people would bring it up. And I feel like it's almost like a must play for me, for a lot of people. I'm like,
it's straight up free, the first one. It is, yeah, I think it's safe to say the first one is a must play if you're interested in anything we've said.
Definitely.
Yeah. So for that, 7.5 for the series overall.
Nice.
All right. Now we can talk about Emily 404.
Okay, yeah. Reposing Claire's question. Yeah. What does everybody think? Like, if you had your druthers on what platform the fourth game would focus on, what would it be?
I love the Snapchat idea. There's a lot of potential there with sending pictures, videos, chat messages, stories. Mm. Also, you said like sexts and things. That kind of made me think of Tinder. Like a Tinder kind of app would be interesting.
Wait, that would be crazy because it's like you run into her on the app and you haven't seen it is a spiritual sequel, but it's like 10 years
be
in the future
over.
or whatever. Oh my God. Or it's
Yeah.
just it's like the phone interface instead of the computer interface.
I know.
Yeah.
And then it's like you have a Snapchat equivalent, you have a Tinder equivalent,
I
you
know.
have a
Yeah.
Yeah. What if it was a mobile game? It could
That's what-
be.
that would
Yeah.
be crazy.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Some of the ideas we come up with might be good for the 5th game. Like
Yeah,
there are so many
right.
apps. So like I might be getting too far ahead of myself with
Yeah.
Emily on
The-
Tumblr.
Tumblr.
Emily
That
on
would be interesting.
Discord. Oh, Tumblr is
Discord,
good.
I had Discord in mind as well, because it's like you're in different servers then, so you have like kind of those like outpost
Yeah.
options.
It'd be easier,
I
I
love
think.
Snapchat as a single platform though, because I think
Yeah.
you're right. There's a lot of different potential there. And it sort of inherently ages or like rates the game a higher rating because of Snapchat's like inception.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is speaking of like all the apps on a screen and like a vertical orientation, there's an indie game called Replica, and it is an interactive novel game that I think you can play it on your phone, but I played it on, I want to say I played it on a console, and it has all of these analogs for like social media apps, and you deduce things, you gather information from like a Facebook-like app, from I think like a Twitter-like app. There are some ideas in here that I think could be applied to more of a romantic setting or like a dating sim sort of situation. But yeah, this is more where you're peeping into someone's private life through their phone.
I played a
I
similar
instantly
indie.
added to cart. Instantly added to
It's very interesting, and it has like 10 endings or something like that. Like there's a lot of replayability there.
Yeah, I think I gotta double check the name of this
The
game.
Simulacra games.
No, there's one that's like it's like something along the lines of like just a lost phone.
Oh,
or like
a normal
simple
lost phone. A normal lost phone.
Yeah.
Yes, there's that too.
That one was really
Yeah.
affecting too, where it's like you find the phone of someone who has left their phone behind, and it like spoilers for this game, skip 15 seconds, but like it turns out this person is like a trans person who has left home to go like start living their best life, and you like slowly over getting into somebody's phone, which is like, oh God, I love any game that lets me be nosy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
like, oh, good.
Yeah,
I love being nosy.
any spiritual successor or sequel in this series that would allow us to explore that more freely, I think would be the ticket. Like FaceNook gave us so much more to do, to explore around in, but there's still more we could do. We could poke around with even more profiles. We could do what this other game, Hypnospace Outlaw, does, where it's like the early days of the internet. You're going to all these web pages. There are like hundreds of web pages you're exploring in this game. We could do that on a phone or through a series of apps or just through a Snapchat app that has tons of different features.
Ugh. All right. Well, now that we're all game developers, I love it. I
Let's make a
absolutely love
game.
it. Ugh.
Welcome to our
Beau-
media empire, Beau.
Yeah, you're in.
I'm on the ground floor. Happy to be
Yeah,
here.
we have all the men have to stay on the ground floor for now. We'll see. We'll see if they
Oopsie.
can make their way up.
Happy
But
to
you're
be
welcome
here at
to wait
all.
in the lobby. We love all our fans.
At least I get to be here.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
of course. Well, so speaking of, I would love to give you another platform to plug yourself here as we're winding down and just I've been listening to Underplayed for a minute, big fan, but if there's anything you want to talk about with that or with your streams or anything else you're working on, now's the time.
Thank you. Underplayed is my indie game podcast. I review indie games with my best friend, DiscoCola. We've been doing that for a few years. It's on all the podcast apps if you just look up Underplayed. I also stream indie games on Twitch, twitch.tv/BO_PO.
Amazing.
We love you, Popo.
Aw.
We love Underplayed. Woo, hi, DiscoCola. Sorry.
And I've just loved this opportunity to be on here with you, Kanisha and Claire. So thank you so much for inviting me on Date With Us. I appreciate it. Let's do this again sometime.
Date With Us is produced and co-hosted by Claire and Kanisha.
Claire does the editing, and the intro music Glimmer was composed for the show by Jason Duran.
Find us on Instagram and Blue Sky as Date With Us Podcast.
And don't forget to share, rate, or review the show.
Tell your crush about us.
We dare you! be here. Say it like we're happy.